Let's get nasty on a Monday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Appreciate everybody tuned in today. It's the Fast Lane 201. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We have our Super Bowl matchup. It will be Patrick Mahomes. Who else? I'm the idiot who said,
you weren't the only
Lamar and the Ravens. And
Carey was right there with you.
Dude, I couldn't have been more wrong about every single facet of the AFC Championship game, down to Marquez Valdez-Scantling making yet another great catch. You wouldn't have been in the Super Bowl had I run the Chiefs roster. I was cutting him after that Monday night game.
I got to tune in a little bit to Friday's show, and you guys are talking about, well, what do the Chiefs need to do to win this game? And Carey goes, they won't.
They won't.
They won't.
Jamie asked a great question, and I explained to him, there's nothing that they can do.
Yeah.
Carey took out a sledgehammer and smashed my question to pieces.
I did. And I was wrong.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
The Ravens' offense, was non-existent. They had some opportunities. You get down to the goal line, you fumble into the end zone and turn the ball over. You just don't do enough. I mean, defensively, they actually now. I would have to ask a question if anybody knew that Travis Kelce was on the roster in the first half, because the Ravens' defense clearly forgot that he is now the all-time leading receiver in NFL history in postseason, passing one Jerry Rice. I don't know that they knew he was on the roster because he was thrown to every single play.
In fairness to the Ravens, they doubled Noah Gray.
That's what it was.
They thought that was Kelce. They're fooling us.
Did he wear yellow gloves, too?
I can see the
yellow
confusion.
gloves, white tight ends. They got confused.
But they do have different numbers, correct?
They're not even the same human being.
Okay.
But to the Ravens, they're like, no, let's double up Gray. He's going to be their guy.
Lock him down.
Yeah, Travis is going to be distracted.
Yeah, because Taylor's here.
Yeah.
He was dialed
The
in.
world's still
awesome.
pissed off about Taylor, aren't they?
Oh, just stop it.
What are they doing?
It's
What's
fine.
their problem? Who cares? She's at a football game. She's having a good time. Come on.
Okay, so I wanted to lead off by saying, look, Chiefs fans, I know you don't want me. I wouldn't want me either, okay? But I am all Mahomes.
Oh, God.
From here on out.
Here we go.
From henceforth. From this day on.
I will not pick against Patrick
From now
Mahomes.
until Super Bowl's over.
This is it.
Forever. In perpetuity.
Patrick is Carey and I's Mahomie, okay?
I'm not picking against him
We're
anymore.
rolling. All Mahomes. He's on the Chiefs roster. We're going with him.
Yeah, you should do that.
That's my pick for the Super Bowl.
It's not a horrible.
I'm not going to change.
Not a
I'll
terrible
take the
idea.
49ers then.
Yeah, not a bad approach. Not a bad approach. He is well rested, isn't he, Marsh? He's got the zingers today. He didn't work on Friday, so he's well rested. He's got the zingers out.
Here we go.
Ready to roll.
All right, we do have to, though. We'll get into the Chiefs and Ravens in detail. We have to start off with the NFC Championship game, though.
Oh, let's talk about the Chiefs and the Ravens for a little bit.
Jamie, so Carey and I couldn't be more wrong in the AFC Championship game. You kind of forecasted
I feel
Dan
responsible.
Campbell.
You did.
You said you were worried about Dan Campbell and a decision that he would have to make at some point and it costing his team. You kind of foreshadowed this.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it, Anthony. Usually I'm happy to be right. I'm not happy to be right today.
I brought my popcorn here, though, because here's the thing. The blame game has started with the Lions stuff. And I feel like Jamie and Carey are on opposite sides of the blame game.
Oh, wow.
So where are you with Dan Campbell not taking the points several times?
So a couple things here. The second one,
multiple times.
The second one, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. And look, let's just be honest here. Your kicker's not the greatest kicker in the NFL. And overall, this season, the Lions were 34% on fourth down conversions, somewhere in and around what their kicker is for 40-plus yard attempts or 45-yard-plus attempts, which would have been a 48-yard attempt in the last one. So I have no problem with that. Where I have the problem is where they're up by 17, and he doesn't add the points on at that point. You get up by 20, that's 3 touchdowns now. That's a daunting ask for anybody. Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, Montana, you put any quarterback over there, and that's a daunting task. Let alone Brock Purdy, who did not have a great first half.
No, he didn't.
He didn't, okay? That's where I think the mistake lies. The first one, I thought it was a mistake to go for it. I thought, in my head, I'm like, you put the points on the board, you continue to apply pressure back to the 49ers because you have this lead, and now all of a sudden, they're looking up at the clock. Every time there's a stopped run, they're looking up at the clock because that thing's ticking away. It's ticking away. Now, not only does execution become the enemy, the clock becomes the enemy at the same time. So that, to me, was a mistake. Overall, in theme, though, Dan Campbell has done this. The other side of my brain goes, this is why the Lions are there. This is why they had that opportunity, is because Dan Campbell made these decisions consistently and believed and bet on his guys. And he did it again in the most important game of the season, and it didn't work this time. Had it worked, there would be a statue being made of Dan Campbell right now in the city of Detroit. So that's where I stand with it. I would have put the points on the board early. The second one, to me, I had no problem with the fourth down.
I didn't have a problem with really any of it. He took the points before halftime to go up by 17. It was a great decision. You're on the 3-yard line. He wanted to be aggressive there, but he understood in that moment you had to kick the field goal. The 4th and 2. This is why I talk so much about players, because I can call the greatest play in the world, but if my players don't execute it, it does not matter. That's a first down if Josh Reynolds catches the ball. It's a pitch and catch. It was a mistake by Josh Reynolds. He did not catch the ball. Then you have the big play by Ayuk where the ball bounces off of the cornerback's face mask, the DB's face mask,
on the ball.
And he catches it. That's a player not taking care of his business. So you turn the ball over. The 49ers take a big shot. Brandon Ayuk makes a hell of a catch because who keeps concentration when the ball bounces off a defender? They score. The next drive, a player puts the football on the ground. The next play, the next offensive play, your players let you down in that game. Dan Campbell, for as much, and here's the thing about Dan Campbell and any great coach, he will never say that. He will take the blame for it. He will stand there in front of it, let all of the people that don't know bleep about football attack him because you went for it on 4th down. Yeah, I did. It was a hell of a play call, and we didn't catch the ball. He's not going to say that. But that's what happened. Josh Reynolds would be the one to say that. Yeah, that was a great call. I didn't take care of my business. The only complaint that I have about Dan Campbell's play calling was the end of the game where they decided to try to run the ball in and got stopped on the goal line and had to burn a timeout. If worse comes to worse, you try on 3 downs, you pass it into the end zone, you don't get it, you kick a field goal. Now you still have your 3 timeouts. You can kick an onside kick, which the percentage is low, and we all know, or you can kick it deep and force the 49ers to try to get a first down. They did neither because they had to burn a timeout because they tried to run it in. That's the only decision that I can look at and say, that's probably a decision I don't make. Have no problem with going for it on 4th down. Have no problem with anything that they did. They threw another pass to Josh Reynolds that hit him right between where the zeros are. It hit him right in the sternum.
That's a bad spot.
That's what they say, Anthony. They say, throw it right in the numbers.
Yeah.
My coach would say, if it was an arrow, it would have killed you. Like, that's where it hit him, right in the sternum. There is no better ball placement than that. And they don't get the point. They don't get the first down. And they turn the ball over. They have to punt. So when you talk about Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, what they didn't do, the players made the mistakes, and that's what cost the Detroit Lions at the end of the day. I will not let anybody slander Dan Campbell for his decisions because his team didn't make the plays that were required to win that game.
Yeah, I'm going to slander Dan Campbell real quick. I didn't like the first 4th down call. I thought that if you give the ball back to them, you give them a 50-50 shot at gaining momentum back into that game, which is exactly what happened. The defense makes a huge stop. The offense, which had nothing going for them all game, they get the ball in good field position, and they end up going down. They get a nice play. Brandon Ayuk makes a great catch. Things like that happen. And then they score. Then you get the crowd back into that game. If they were at Ford Field, I wouldn't mind the call, but you have to consider the elements into that game. One, you're not playing the Rams. You're not playing the Buccaneers. You're playing the best team in the NFC with a high octane offense, and you let them back into that game based off of that call, that one specific call. And like Jamie said, you make it a 20-point game. It comes down to time and possession, and I'm not sure if the 49ers end up having enough time left in that game to get things done. Plus, your offense is now on the ropes now because, oh man, now like Jamie, you put in the group chat. There's a 10-point swing right there.
Yeah.
Then they get the ball back. They have all the momentum now, and I believe the game changed on that call. It did.
Carey, you had mentioned something about when to go for it. It's basically situational, right?
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling, but it's situational.
The play call was great. The execution was not.
The second
Josh
one
Reynolds.
was mid.
Well,
The rollout with the missed pass, that's on Jared Goff, in my opinion.
The one you're talking about with Josh Reynolds dropping, you're right. I mean, it would have been a first down and all that. However, his decision making comes down to what is the situation in the game, in my opinion. Now, I know he's gone for it more than anybody. He kind of lives and dies by that. Jamie, you had mentioned that. Okay, so he decided to continue to go for it. Right. But what is the situation in the game? You had an opportunity to make it a 3-possession game. Mm-hmm. Possessions are the only things that matter in football. Yeah. Possessions are gold. The number of possessions you have compared to your opponent based on the clock. That is the only thing that matters when it comes to whether or not to go for it on fourth down or kick the field goal. It is. We can talk about, I believe in my players and all that. That's fine. But when it comes down to winning a football game, number of possessions, what's the score, how much time is left on the clock? 3-possession game changes a lot when it comes to that moment. Tying the football game changes potentially a lot if it's 27-27. Yes, he's got to make the kick. 3-possession game in the third quarter. You don't get unlimited possessions. Carey, you're right. Reynolds dropped the ball. Gibbs fumbled. There was a lot that went on that is also the player's fault. When it comes down to those specific calls in a vacuum, take the points.
I don't see it that way because at the end of the day, the opportunity for the player to make a play was present. And the player, on 3 different occasions, did not make a play. Josh Reynolds dropped a pass. The defender dropped an interception that hit him in the face mask, and Brandon Ayuk makes a hell of a catch. And then Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles on the very next drive. You're still up 24-17 when Jahmyr Gibbs puts the ball on the ground, and I think the 49ers on their own 25-yard line. Mm-hmm. They're right now have an opportunity to tie the game up because your players did not do their job.
You're right.
And so
Your head coach didn't either, though.
I can't blame a head coach for putting me in a position to win, and I don't do my job. That's on the players as a man.
Yeah.
The players today are not looking at Dan Campbell and say, you screwed us. They're looking amongst themselves and saying, we let you down, coach. We let you down because you had faith in us to catch a 4th and 2 pass, 4th down and 2 yards, and I dropped it. You had faith in us to make a big play on the back end, knock the ball. At least don't let Brandon Ayuk catch it. Bounces off my face mask, he catches it. You had faith in us to take care of the football. Anytime you hand a player the football, you know our coach used to tell us, the life, dreams, hopes, and aspirations of the organization are with you when you have the ball in your hand. And you put it on the ground. And so now the life, dreams, hopes, and aspiration of our organization are going to be sitting at home on Super Bowl Sunday because we did not take care of the football. I don't care what the coach did. The players did not make a play, and they lost that game. To me, that's the only thing that I can answer. That's the only way I see it. I don't give a damn about going up by 3 possessions because guess what? If I catch the 4th and 2, the 4th down and 2-yard pass, we probably, at worst, still kick a field goal, and we're up by 3 possessions. Or we score a touchdown because they ain't stopped us yet.
It would still be 3 possessions, though, right?
It would still be 3 possessions, but it's more time gone, and it's more, if I score a touchdown in that situation, the game is over, essentially. Now, San Francisco really has more to climb out of. But even if I kick a field goal, it's still a 3-possession game with more time burnt off of the clock. They just didn't catch. They didn't do their job. That's just how I saw it.
I just didn't like the pass play on 4th and 2. Your running game had been slicing through the 49ers.
But it was wide open, Jamie.
I know, but Montgomery and Gibbs had been having their way with the 49ers. You need 2 yards. I don't know why you pass it there.
I don't know why he didn't catch it there.
I agree.
I don't know why I didn't kick a field goal.
I don't either.
I like the points in that particular moment.
You talk about giving players opportunities, right? Well, Dan Campbell didn't because Michael Badgley's still sitting there saying,
He looked kind of irritated on the sideline.
opportunity? Yeah. Dan Campbell believes in all his players.
Well, he didn't believe in his defense.
Except
And he
for
didn't
Michael
believe in his
Badgley.
field goal kicker.
That's correct. You can think about it all offseason now. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN.
Ouch.
What? What? It's true. Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. That 49ers team is cooked.
I don't know. They got a new animal called Brock Purdy. See that guy rush the football?
He did take
My team has Mahomes. That's right. I said
Your
my team.
team?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah. All Chiefs now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, couldn't be more on the 49ers now.
Good. That's fine. You want a personal rival the next 2 weeks? That's fine. I got Mahomes. You got nothing. All right?
It's Anthony. Hey, it's Anthony's Chiefs. We'll get into more of that here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Looking to accessorize your vehicle? Then Pure Performance is the only place for you to be shopping and looking at merchandise. They are the best in the business, and it doesn't matter what you're driving, whether it's a pickup truck, an SUV, a Jeep, a Bronco, even a minivan. Pure Performance has accessories for you. They've got unbelievable bumper accessories. They also have the Nerf bars and side steps. They've got the running boards. They've got the truck bed accessories. If you have a pickup truck and you work with your truck every single day, you are going to love what they have there. They've got drawers that slide out, things that cover up the bed of your truck. It's awesome over there at Pure Performance. And it's not just aftermarket accessories there and oversized tires and off-road things. No, they have everyday tires and wheels for any vehicle you have. My son right now, he's headed over to Pure Performance in 2 days to get tires changed on his SUV, and it's just regular tires. I trust Pure Performance with everything that they do, and you should too. Please stop by. They're located right there in St. Peter's, 25,000 square foot facility. When you walk in, ask for Shelby. Tell her that Jamie Rivers sent you in. You're going to love everything that they have available for you, and you're going to love your vehicle when they're done with it. So please stop by again in person, or visit them online at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
did not have a single snap inside the 25. Here's Kansas City from the 19, throwing at the goal line, and it's caught by Kelce for the touchdown. With Kyle Hamilton all over him, the matchup you wanted to watch, Kelce wins it.
You heard that call yesterday on CBS as the Chiefs knock off the Ravens. I'm going to say this a couple of times. Let's go, Chiefs. Let's go, Chiefs. Yeah, it feels good.
I won't.
That's fine.
No.
Okay.
I'm out on Mahomes. I told you that. I'm out.
Listen.
You
Can't stand
did.
the guy.
I respect your.
You're just mad.
thought.
You're just, you know what I realized?
What?
You're a Tom Brady fan, right? There's a bit of concern at the new kid on the block.
None. Actually, Carey,
you
my
probably should have some.
my opinion has absolutely nothing to do with even football.
Oh, what is it?
Nothing.
Okay.
You watch the Netflix series, Quarterback?
I didn't see it. No, I
Okay,
wasn't.
you watch that and you tell me if that's not. It swung the pendulum for me.
I've seen it. I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
too much.
I got to watch this.
check it
No, I'm done with Reacher.
It's too.
Oh, great show.
I ended up liking Kirk Cousins more than Patrick Mahomes.
Kirky's a good guy.
Now, he's a great guy, but at first I was, Kirk is kind of a dork,
Well, he still is.
I mean, he's still a dork, but I'd rather hang out with
He's
him.
paid a lot of money.
Okay.
You'll see.
I'm going to watch it. Me and my son are going to check it out.
Check it out.
So Carey and I were dead wrong. How we broke down the Chiefs and Ravens. I was dead wrong on everything. I mean, absolutely everything about that game. I just watched it and said, this is the most wrong I've ever been. But I'm all in on Patrick Mahomes. Now, we did get an interesting text to 314-399-9646, the Air Comfort Service text line, which Marsh read to me in the break, and I wanted to bring it on air.
Here we go. From the 636, I think I can speak for all of Chiefs Kingdom. We politely decline Anthony's request for a temporary membership as we are worried he will bring the Falcons juju and somehow ruin Mahomes and or the Chiefs in general.
I mean, it's valid.
It's kind of.
Here's the thing. I appreciate you being polite, but you don't have to be polite. I'll be right there with you, okay? Right there, Chiefs Kingdom. It's you and me, 636, and all of Chiefs Kingdom. That's what we call ourselves.
I don't want you, Anthony.
Chiefs Kingdom.
You're not understanding.
No, Jamie.
You're not understanding.
Jamie,
I don't want you.
You got to read between the lines, and I
Okay.
just did with the 636. So, feel really good about this.
I don't think
Me,
I don't think he gets it.
Mahomes, Kelsey, and the Swifties. We got this.
Anthony's feeling 22 right
Oh,
now.
yeah, I certainly am.
He has no idea what you
Absolutely.
just said.
No clue.
No clue. Assuming it's a song, but that's fine. The Baltimore Ravens, I don't know if you want to start with the Ravens or the Chiefs, boys.
I would love to start with the Baltimore
Go for it. Let it fire.
because I texted you all as a group at one point during the game because I love the position of running back. Like it is the position that gets everything going. I know a lot of people dismiss the running back position. They look down on it. They don't pay enough attention to it. Justice Hill in pass pro. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I can do without it. It was the worst display of pass protection that I've ever seen, and you got your quarterback hit too many times. I will tell you all a quick story. When I signed in Indianapolis, my coach, the running back coach, Gene Huey, me and Rand Carthon, the current Titans GM, were rookies. He sat us down in the room. He had a picture of Y.A. Tittle on the wall. The picture where Y.A. Tittle is bloodied on his knees in front of the goalpost. And he said and looked at me and ran with sincerity. If number 18 ever looks like that because of one of you, you're done. You will never play here again, and I'm going to be fired right behind you. Protect the damn quarterback is what the message we got out of that. Justice Hill and those running backs did not do a good enough job. And it's unfortunate to beat up on one person, but a couple of those sacks were because of poor running back pass pro. A couple of them, he should have gotten sacked, and Lamar was able to get out of it. It's just do your job, man. And at the end of the day, when I talk about sports in general, players have to play. They worked on that. The man got beat a couple of times, and you can't get beat man-to-man in pass pro and put your quarterback under duress and allow him to get hit in the face and not allow him to sit in the pocket and find his receivers downfield. Everybody else, for the most part, is doing their job. Ronnie Stanley got beat one time and almost got Lamar's shoulder ripped off of his arm, off of his body. But for the most part, the running back pass pro was atrocious, and that to me, is part of the reason why they were unable to get anything going and just couldn't get it moving. And they didn't run the ball with the running backs either.
They decided not to run at all.
Yeah.
I mean, at all. I don't really understand.
Pass, but no runs.
Yeah, no runs.
To fake the
and they did not. Credit Steve Spagnuolo. We all talked about it last week. How do you slow down Lamar? And we're like, well, you go after him, or why don't you just make him play quarterback, play in zone, rush with 4, gap discipline, all that. Just make sure you're mirroring him in the pocket, keep him in the pocket. And Spag said, okay, I'll do the exact opposite. I'm going to blitz the ever-living crap out of Lamar, and it worked. And Todd Monken never had a counter. I mean, how many times do you see an A-gap blitz and not dump it off to the running back? There was no screens.
Is that on the coordinator, or is that on Lamar too?
That's on the coordinator.
So Lamar can't make his own decisions.
What I put on Lamar is when you're constantly being blitzed, where are you going with the football? Because even when he was blitzed, he was not making quick decisions at all.
That I will agree 100%. That's why I brought him up.
Brady gets blitzed. He knows exactly where the ball needs to go out. He'll take the 4 or 5 yard profits and keep it moving. Mahomes, when he is blitzed, that ball is out. Lamar stayed in the pocket. He made his job difficult last night. But Todd Monken had zero counter for what Spags was doing. Spags owned Todd Monken yesterday.
It just was a bad look for that offense. They didn't run the ball. And for me, you're running a lot of play action passes, or what we call at least paint, giving the look of a play action pass by the running back. What difference does it make if you never run the ball with the running back? The defense is checking out of there. That look is supposed to keep the backers settling their feet and not dropping. But if you don't run the football, they have no reason to settle. They have no reason to come forward. They can drop, and now they're in the pass lanes, and now you have no open windows to throw the ball to. And then your running backs, and just the pass pro. I'm telling you, that to me, my running back coach in college, block, catch, run, in that order. Every running back can run the football. It's in the damn title. You should be able to do that. The superior ones, the ones that are going to be great, block, and they catch out of the backfield, and they run the ball well. If you can't do all three, you don't play for a long time on Sundays. And to me, watching that effort was very lackluster.
I thought that the moment was too big for all parties involved. I thought that the Chiefs, what they did is they exercised experience. Mm-hmm. That's a group of individuals and coaches and just everybody that knew, hey, we've been here. We know what we're going to do. We have a plan. Let's see if they can counter it.
Yep.
And Lamar and Todd Monken and all these other people sat there and thought that we've been doing this all year. We're fine. Just give the ball to Lamar. He's an MVP. He wasn't that. He wasn't, though, yesterday. He didn't make quick decisions. I thought that there were plays that were available where he was looking for a bigger, better play, and the time was disappearing while he was in the pocket. And then once it disappeared, he was panicking out there. Mm-hmm. And then, there were there was obviously the massive fumble on the goal line that played into it. It's a heartbreaker too if you're a Ravens fan.
Yeah.
But I just didn't see Lamar being as prepared as he should have been, and that falls on the individual and it falls on the coaching staff as well. It should have been cerebral for him out there to just be going through what they're supposed to be doing,
right?
And it wasn't. It was panic the whole day.
Jamie, you're absolutely right. You watched a team that did what it did in the regular season and then thought, we'll just do exactly that. They had a slow first half against Houston before turning it on in the second half, but that was a Houston team that nobody had in the playoffs, and they caught him with a right hook, and that was it. But this team didn't make any. They were like, well, we don't really have a counter. This is kind of what we do.
Or the Ravens.
Lamar, please, God, make a play, and he didn't. Or he did, and then Zay Flowers decided to taunt and stand over. Like, you can't make that mistake. Going, trying to reach the ball over. How many times? I know it's instinctual. You're trying to score and all that. But instead of being on the 2 or the 1, you give the ball back when that game was still within reach. Otherwise, though, I thought the Chiefs dominated. I know the final score was 17-10. I know the Ravens had opportunities. I thought the Chiefs dominated them.
And to Jamie's point, both losers in the conference championship games, they stuck with their philosophy that they had all season long until it came against teams that have been there and done that in the postseason, they knew how to adjust, whereas these teams that were in the moment, the Ravens, the Lions, they didn't, and they ended up going home for it.
Absolutely. The Blues red hot. We've been begging for a streak like this for a while now. What a road trip. Then they come home and they get another victory over the weekend, this one in overtime. We'll break down the Blues run and what it means moving forward here. Next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, you want to feel like you did 15, 20 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, you do. Who doesn't?
Right?
I don't have to worry about it anymore.
What?
Right, mentality, man. Went over there, wasn't feeling quite like myself. This is a while ago now. And I was working out, trying to eat right, and it wasn't right. It just wasn't working. Couldn't figure out why. Well, board-certified staff over at Mentality said, come on in, let's have a chat. We sat there, talked a little bit, figured some things out. They ran a blood panel on me and figured I was low in testosterone, some other vitamins as well. I've been on a program now for about a year and a half, and it has been fantastic. Went by there today. Again, they did another little test on me, whatever. Things are going awesome. Anthony, I know it saved both of us.
Well, Jamie, I was fighting against you, right? Because you were like, listen, come down to Mentality with me. I'm like, no, I'll figure it out. I just got to sleep better. I just got to eat right. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'll figure it out on my own. And then you finally said to me, I love you, man. You dumb son. And then I went down.
That's about right.
I went down to Mentality with you. And same deal. So if you're low, the energy level is low, but it's more than that, right? It's focus, it's motivation, it's dedication to everything that you want to accomplish in
Proper
life.
sleep.
If you're constantly feeling like you're going uphill, stop. Because as soon as you start Mentality, you start feeling better. People start noticing. You feel good about yourself. You're working out. You're doing this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, things start to fall into place. And all the things you wanted to accomplish, like sleeping better, and that all comes naturally thanks to Mentality.
Yeah, it is. And so they've got two locations. And it's really easy. They got one in South County, one in Chesterfield. Walk into either location. Tell them that Anthony and Jamie sent you in. I promise you they're going to take great care of you. You might even get a little special something from them. All right? Or you can visit them at Mentality's website, lowtusa.com. Again, that's lowtusa.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update. Driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Super Bowl 58 is set. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs will take on Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. We'll be diving into the conference championship games all day long, so stay tuned for that. But we're going to dive into your St. Louis Blues. They are now winners of 5 straight games. 4-3 OT victories in a row as Braden Shen ripped home the game winner in overtime yesterday against the LA Kings. The Blues will look for their 6th in a row against the Blue Jackets tomorrow. Pregame starts at 6, puck drop is at 7, and you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Buchnevich launches a pass to Shen. Shen, a partial break. Shoots. Score! The captain, the hero, the game winner. And bring out the Zamboni. The Blues are back in a playoff spot. They've won 5 in a row. And Braden Shen rips home the game winner to keep the streak rolling. It's a St. Louis Blues 4-3 win.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, so the Blues get it done again over the weekend, and we've been talking about, hey, just get on a streak. You got to start compiling wins. You're getting to the All-Star break. You can't keep going 1 win, 1 loss, 2 wins, 2 losses. If you want to make any headway in the Western Conference with the wild card, you got to put together a streak. Well, they've won 5 straight now. 5 straight victories.
Yeah, beautiful.
They've been fun to watch. The Kings have been struggling a little bit, but that's still a good team that they handed their lunch to. 4 straight 4-3 victories. It started with a 3-0 win over the Capitals. If you were to say, I know it's always a combination of things, Jamie.
Sure.
But if you were to say one thing that has helped spark the 5-game winning streak, what would it be?
Secondary scoring. It's not just Thomas, Kyrou, and Buchnevich.
Sure.
Braden Shen's on a heater right now. I think 9 points his last 9 games, 5 goals, a couple of overtime winners. Brandon Saad had a couple of goals. Jake Neighbors is scoring goals. Like, there's your secondary scoring. Mm-hmm. And that's basically the biggest key for me. You also have other guys that have raised their level of game. Matthew Kessel, guys, pretty much came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Like, he's on the depth chart to begin with, but it was the depth chart. Like, yeah, maybe. If you squint, maybe, right? Like, we'll give him a chance. Maybe he'll get a cup of coffee. This kid was ready, man. He has stepped into this lineup, and he has been really good. He's yet to have a game with a minus, as far as finishing minus. He's been scored on, like, once, 5-on-5, but then got it back because he was on the ice 5-on-5. So he's been very dependable to the point where you're playing him up to 20 minutes a game in your top 4. And then Scott Perunovich, we'll see. He's going to be held out of tomorrow night's game. He had an MRI today. Something wonky went on with his leg, his ankle, or it was a weird kind of thing. It didn't look terrible, but he left the game, never came back. But he's been really good. And what I like about it is it's been able to slot Perunovich where he should be for regular shift standpoint. He should be a third pair defenseman, regular shift. And then he should be a power play guy. And he's contributing. Last night, 2 assists. One was a fantastic play on the power play, which I'll say this, that Scott Perunovich is up there amongst one of the best guys in the NHL at walking the blue line. And all that means is he gets the puck at the blue line. He has a guy staring at him in the eyeballs. And he walks the blue line, and then he'll open up the hips to make it seem like he's going to make a play backwards, and then he closes up the hips and keeps going, and that guy's frozen. And that's exactly what he did on the power play goal with Pavel Buchnevich. He starts up high at the blue line. He starts to head down the wall. He does a little hips thing. The top guy has to respect that the pass could go back up to the top, so he keeps his stick back towards the blue line. That leaves a gap now for Pavel Buchnevich to pop out. He makes a great pass. Now by the time the defending forward realizes it, tries to get his stick back into the passing lane. It's not there, and it's a goal. Fantastic play there. And then the other one, such a high hockey IQ on this one is where Robert Thomas makes the pass to Perunovic, and instead of just stopping the puck and passing it to Kyrou, he just sort of skates through and deflects it and just goes a little ding, like a bank off his stick to Kyrou, who's all by himself in motion, gets the puck and scores. So to me, those are the biggest difference makers. You have young defensemen who have elevated their game or come onto the scene in Matthew Kessel's situation, and you've had secondary scoring from the other guys.
When I'm watching that, I just, for me, you talk about Kessel, you talk about Perunovic, and I've talked about Jake Neighbors. When you have younger guys that they play in a style that doesn't feel like they are new to this. Like they play like veteran players, like guys that have been around. They're not afraid to get in the middle of it. They're not rushed. And I think that's one of the most important things. You know, Jamie, when you're a younger player, sometimes you're, oh, crap, when I watch Jake Neighbors, he looks like he has been playing in the NHL for about 8 to 10 years. Like, there's no rush to him. He had a situation where he was trying to pass it, I think it was last game, and instead of passing, he just very patient right in front of the net, wanted to pass it. Nope, not open. I'm going to take the shot. He didn't make the shot, but it was the amount of patience there for a young player is amazing to me, because when you are young, your general tendency is to want to do things faster and get sped up, and they are not being sped up. And I think that, like, the ability for those younger players to come along as quickly as they have and play as well as they have, it helps everyone else. And this team is much better now than they were, 2 months ago.
Yeah, and I would. You're right. You're 100% right. It makes a big difference. I would also throw on top of that some really good goaltending from both Joel Hofer and Jordan Binnington. Jordan Binnington has been unreal in the month of January. And in fact, Elliot Friedman, I'm going to pull this up here because Elliot Friedman had a report. Everybody was dogging on Jordan Binnington, and, nationally, everybody's, the numbers. Well, Elliot Friedman, who's as dialed in as anybody in the hockey world, especially when it comes to Hockey Canada and, like, the Canadian side of it, said that he was talking to a general manager the other day and said if Canada was playing Game 1 of the World Cup right now, or whatever they're going to call it next year, or the Olympics or whatever, he said Jordan Binnington would be in the conversation to be the starter.
Wow. There you go.
It says a lot,
Amazing.
man. It says a lot. And he has been rock solid. And the one part about Jordan Binnington that I really admire the most this year, and just getting to know him more and more, he's dialed in and he's calm. Like, there's no reaction one way or the other. He's confident in his abilities. He gets out there. He puts his work in. He does the video work. He does the on-ice stuff. He does his prep work. He does his breathing techniques, all this stuff. And it's got him in a really good place mentally. And then physically, I mean, his game speaks for itself right now.
I think going back to those young players that we talked about, Jake Neighbors, Scott Perunovic, Matthew Kessel, those guys have played in big moments coming up into the NHL. You have Jake Neighbors, played in the Memorial Cup. You have Scott Perunovic, won a national championship at Duluth. Matthew Kessel was a big part of that UMass team that finally won a national championship. So these guys have been in big situations. Now, not at the NHL level, but they have that experience when it comes to playing in big-time games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing something right now that they hadn't been able to do all season long. It's getting down by 1 or 2 goals and not crumbling.
Yes.
In fact, coming back and competing and winning these games. You look at Calgary, down by 2. Come back, you win. Right in the last minute of play. Vancouver, you're up by 2. You piss it away. Then you still hang on after that. Character win there. Seattle, down by 2. Come back, win it in overtime. Again, last game, you're down, come back, win it. Like, something to be said about that right now.
No doubt. Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN Blues. Blue Jackets pregame at 6 o'clock. That game will be tomorrow night, and we'll have it for you here on 101 ESPN.
Oh, one more thing, too, guys, is that awful power play.
It's been pretty good.
In the last 9 games, 40% is
Not
what it's
bad.
operating
Wow,
at.
that's outstanding. Good.
You
Good
want
for
to talk about your difference maker?
Shoot the puck.
There's a difference maker. Whatever they're doing, how about just do that with the puck?
Keep doing it.
Good for the players, good for Drew Bannister and his coaching staff.
Everybody, yes.
They've got it ironed out here. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We have What's Trending next.
Cheap, fun.
If you are planning a weekend or a fun night, or even maybe you're planning right now for the big game in a couple of weeks, your first stop has to be Dirt Cheap. They are St. Louis's one-stop party shop, and there's several reasons why. If you're looking for a beer, they have an incredible selection of all your favorite beers, red wine, white wine, and their staff is knowledgeable too. If you're looking to pair up a certain wine with food or an event or something, ask them. They're going to point you in the right direction and then give them your budget. Because guaranteed that Dirt Cheap has something for everybody's budget. And then when it comes to your regular spirits, with your vodkas, your rums, how about the bourbons? That's where I go every single time, and Dirt Cheap doesn't disappoint. They've got Elijah Craig, they've got Bullet, they've got Angel's Envy, even got myself a Blanton's there one time. Nice. Yeah, it was really nice. And they also have one of my new favorites, by the way. Maker's Mark has made a new batch. It's called Snow Day. It's a private barrel selection that was selected specifically by Dirt Cheap, and it's the only place you can get it. So please stop by, ask them about Snow Day. You're absolutely going to love it. You're going to love everything about Dirt Cheap, especially the price. Remember to have fun out there, but be careful.
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh. And gentlemen, we were just talking about the Blues. They have one more game taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets until the All-Star game, which will be held in Toronto. And there is a special place in Toronto doing a promotion. Jamie, you've probably heard of this place. It's called Fillmore's.
Yeah.
As they welcome.
We used to call it Filthmore's.
Yeah, well, it is it's a club of the.
Why is that?
You'll see. Go ahead, Andrew.
It's a club of the gentleman variety.
Oh.
And on their
Those clubs.
little billboard or whatever, it says, "Welcome to NHL All-Star Week. Free lap dances for all 2024 NHL All-Stars. Of course, ID is required."
Naturally, yeah.
See, I don't really like the business model. Those girls are working hard. They're trying to get their way through college, and I don't think a free lap dance is going to help them out at all.
They said one free lap dance, which generally, I mean, I've heard about these establishments. I've been to a few, actually. So generally how that works is research. It's research purposes. You get one dance, and they just keep going.
Really?
And I would assume the first dance is free, and then the rest you have to pay for. But if you don't say stop, you don't realize that the song changed 18 times. Wait, what? Every song?
Carey, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
It's just some research I've done throughout my professional career.
I had a friend of mine one time that went in there. He got a free lap dance. Song was about 24 seconds long.
Oh, that's
and then
that is
like
the
7
worst.
more at like 35 seconds a song. And
What are they, nursery rhymes? What's going on here?
They just cut the
amazing.
song down.
The remixes as they go is interesting to say the least.
that was
hats
7
off to the
songs.
DJ for sure.
What? That was 3 minutes.
Then my friend got handed the tab for it.
Yeah.
And that friend didn't realize that the clock was running the whole time.
It doesn't stop.
It was an interesting
I
moment.
realize you're still in the cab.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen walk-up songs last longer than that.
Yes.
Moving on, Swan, our good pal Swan, who listens quite frequently. He likes to tag us in certain things on X or Twitter, whatever people are calling it nowadays. And this is from Jay Kuda as it refers to the NFC Championship game. He tweeted out, "Every time the 49ers have won the NFC Championship game versus a team that has a shade of blue in their logo, they've gone on to win the Super Bowl. And of course, they just defeated the Detroit Lions." So, Anthony, I'm sorry that your new Kansas City Chiefs team that you are hopping on the bandwagon, it looks like they will lose the Super Bowl.
Hey, you know what? Everybody was talking about the Ravens before our Chiefs beat them in the AFC Championship game. The Ravens were favored, #1 seed. Everybody had them in the Super Bowl at the start of the year. What happened to them? They got Mahomes. Kelsey, and Swift.
Swiftied.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about any sort of trend. Brock Purdy's not going to do what Patrick Mahomes does in 2 weeks. I'm not changing my mind on this.
Guys, just out of curiosity, do you think Taylor Swift will be there for the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, but hang on. There's some technical difficulties here, or scheduling conflict.
Uh-oh.
She has a concert in Japan the day before, and then after the concert, she's got to basically hop on her jet and fly back directly all the way back to Las Vegas, where it's at. And if everything goes perfect, she'll arrive 35 minutes before kickoff. That means if everything's perfect.
More than enough time.
The biggest question, do you think the people in Japan get shorted one song on that set? Like instead of 3 hours and 5 minutes, it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes the show.
Oh, man.
Would they know?
I don't know.
They probably wouldn't know.
I would.
They
if
would
they're
know.
Swifties, they know. They're like, girlfriend, you forgot this
You
song.
left this song out.
See, I disagree.
I think that's how they do it.
I don't think they do. I think the Swifties want her to be at the Super Bowl. They
that's a good
love
point,
everything
too.
about Travis Kelce. I
don't know
bet
if
you
the
that
people
they
in
wouldn't
Japan
care.
care.
They know that their girl needs to support her man, so she'll be there.
I don't know if the people in Japan care that much. Like
They
if that,
all care.
The Swifties
if that
care.
concert was in like Florida, they'd say, you know what? Do it Monday. We're fine. We'll hang on to our tickets. You go to Super Bowl.
Do your thing.
Yeah. In Japan, I just don't know if they're caring about the Super Bowl as much.
If they're Swifties, I feel like they care more about her than they care about their own well-being.
Well,
You might have
I
a
think
point
so.
there.
you're not wrong.
Yeah. Good call on that, Marsh. All right, the Cardinals made a move today. We'll tell you what it is. Actually, they made two moves, technically. Two moves.
That's what's really
Picking up that veteran presence, baby.
Yeah. And maybe dumping a player they never give a chance to. Not that that's ever backfired on them.
What could go
before.
wrong?
That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, fellas, it's Carey, and if you're a man that has been suffering from a feeling of wanting to urinate but can't, maybe straining while you're urinating, maybe the feeling of not being able to empty your bladder completely, possibly waking up multiple times in the middle of the night to urinate but just can't quite go. If this is you, you could be suffering from BPH or an enlarged prostate. It's a common condition for men 60 years or older, but don't worry. My friends at the Midwest Institute for Non-Surgical Therapy have the solution. Dr. Akinwande has the solution. The part that I need you to hear is non-surgical. This procedure is minimally invasive. If you've talked to other doctors about this issue, you've had this issue going on for a while, you know what they told you the procedure entails. And here, Dr. Akinwande and the Mint STL, their procedure has lower risks of complications, no hospital stays, no sutures, scarring, or general anesthesia, and relief from the uncomfortable symptoms that I mentioned above. And you can return to normal activities typically within a few days. So if you want to get going again and feel better, you need to reach out to Mint STL today to schedule an appointment. That's MINTSTL.com, and tell them Carey sent you.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN 301. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Your St. Louis Cardinals, they're making moves again, guys. Making moves.
Oh, yeah.
They claimed first baseman / outfielder Alfonso Rivas off of waivers from the Angels.
Wait, he was at the Angels?
He was with the Angels at one point.
I saw he's with the Cubs, the
Also
Padres,
the Pirates, the Cubs, and pretty much every major league team. Outfielder Moise Gomez has been designated for assignment.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So Moises Gomez designated for assignment.
That's one of the things that frustrated me last year. You brought everybody up to a degree from Memphis that had a bat. Mm-hmm. He didn't get brought up. He didn't get much of an opportunity, and he just hits the ball really hard, allegedly. But I wouldn't know. I haven't gone in Memphis games. Yeah. But I saw the stats.
He's a long ball hitter.
Yeah.
I don't know about anything else for that matter.
I mean, you had a bunch of guys up here. Some of the guys were, you probably could have found a spot for him. Giving him an opportunity.
They didn't give it. You're right. They didn't give him an opportunity. So
we were competing for 4th place.
Yeah, about that. They didn't do that well either. They
finished in 5th, so maybe you should have brought up Gomez. So the 25-year-old outfielder.
That's the whole point.
Had plenty of power. He had 30 home runs, drove in 79, did strike out a ton, which comes with the power. 567 plate appearances. He struck out 180 times, 39 walks. Can't teach the power. But the question was, are you going to continue to grow the power? Are you going to let it grow, or do you know what he is and you just free up the spot?
What's funny is that he was in the running always. You would hear about Juan Yepez or Gomez. Juan Yepez or Gomez. Now they're both gone.
Yep.
Interesting.
They are.
Well, it's two guys, though, if you really think about it, it's two guys that didn't have a lot of flexibility when it came to defense.
What?
The Cardinals are all about, can you play 9 positions? Can you play all 9 positions? If not,
Alec Burleson he's got 2.
He's feeling it though.
Yeah,
I sent you guys that John Denton article. He's feeling it.
He's got to get better in the outfield as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just, I don't know where wait and see, man. Let's just wait and see. Let's see if Alfonso, was it Ribeiro? No, that's the freshman.
Rivas. Who'd you say? Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Alfonso Ribeiro. Yeah, let's see.
He might be our next. He might be better. You never know.
We'll see.
It's a good call.
Hopefully,
Carey, that's a good thought. I like the way you're thinking outside the box on this one.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Rivas is 27 years old. He's a plus defenseman, on base guy. Hit 243, 324, 349 was his slash line, and 459 plate appearances a year ago. This is somebody that, again, I think they bring in to add some versatility to the roster. But how much versatility do you need? You've got starters that can play multiple positions. Now you've got bench guys that can play multiple positions. I don't know really what they're looking for. But you dumped power again to bring in somebody that, again, is a plus defender that can get on base, depending on his playing time. So, I don't really know where we're going here. But I know if you bounced around a while, you haven't really carved out a solid role for yourself outside of the glue guy that everybody needs in that locker room.
I would tread carefully here
to provide some of the best.
Some of those guys are wanted commodities.
Of course, okay? Yeah. So we acquired
those guys are the missing piece.
No question about that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the question,
see it more in hockey. It's normal. Baseball, it's different.
Yeah, way different for sure. It better be.
The question is, does this move make your team better? Simple as that.
I don't know.
No, it gives you depth. That's it. There's no way you're acquiring this guy. I'm not going to be an ass here, for real.
I mean, you can.
There's no way you're acquiring this guy because it's like a pivotal move for your seasons coming. No, it's an insurance policy for someone. I don't know who. But
Matt Carpenter?
Maybe.
I mean, seriously.
But maybe for Alec Burleson, too.
Maybe.
Like, Burley, based off what John Denton wrote, is like, they think he's a one-trick pony here right now. He can hit the ball from the left side, but that's it. They can't trust him to play in the field at all. Mm-hmm. I'm paraphrasing the entire article, which you should go read, and we might get into it later today, if not maybe tomorrow. But it basically says that the Cardinals have no confidence in Alec Burleson's defense. And so that's that.
He didn't give him much confidence.
He didn't. Listen, it's on the player. Yeah. I'm not blaming the management or the coaches or anything like that. But I'm just saying maybe this guy here is just like an insurance policy for a Carpenter / Burleson / whomever.
Well, he does fit more with what they're looking for than an Alec Burleson. So I think that's a good point you just made. Alec Burleson, if you are a one-trick pony like Alec Burleson, like Juan Yepez, like Moises Gomez, you're not going to be around this team. They're not looking for that. They are looking for somebody that can provide versatility.
I saw it,
And that's
too.
it.
Go ahead, Carey.
No, I didn't see. Go ahead. I didn't see.
Someone says, I smell Taylor Motter 2.0. Wow. Poor Taylor.
I don't even have any hair to pull out anymore. I don't know, man. Like,
You can pull some from your
that's
beard.
gonna be next. You know, stress is the number one. It's a terrible thing. You don't want to be stressed out.
Yeah.
So don't be stressed out, Cardinal fans. Just wait and see, man. Because I don't know. I don't know the purpose of having multiple people that can do multiple things. I think teams that are successful, yeah, that's my shortstop. Yeah, that's my left fielder. That guy's my catcher. I don't think teams say, you know, that's my catcher today, but I can put him in center field if I need to. Like,
Imagine having that luxury, Carey.
You really can't, though.
How about that?
Yeah.
Why? Why the hell do I want that luxury? Why don't I want this guy behind the plate 130 games?
You know how hard that is on his knees?
He's getting paid to do it.
Pretty well,
Got
too.
those knee savers now. They don't have to sit in that position all day.
Oh, yeah, I got those little things that go
Yeah,
behind
there you go.
Those are weird.
I don't know, man.
They picked him up for defense. They did. They picked him up
To
for
play
defense.
where?
I don't know.
Anthony?
Wherever you
I know,
need
but if you have
Rivas Island, baby.
if you have nice, well played. I'm sure Darrell Rivas when he listens to the podcast later, he's gonna like that.
Yeah, we'll find it at the podcast, baby.
That's right, absolutely. All brought to you by Top Star and Auto Centers. You're welcome, Darrell. When it comes to the bench right now, though, Alec Burleson is not a strong defender. Matt Carpenter is not a strong defender. So they picked up Rivas Island. That's what this move is about. It's about defense.
This move is about nothing but depth.
Sure.
That's it. That's it.
I'm surprised you guys aren't excited about this.
I don't know. I
You're
don't know.
begging the
much.
Cardinals to
I
make
just
a
want to
move.
see what kind of spring training he has, Anthony.
I just want to. That's what I want to see. How many weeks are we? 3 weeks away now? Or is that where we are? 3 weeks from catchers and pitchers reporting.
2 weeks, I think, for catchers and pitchers.
And 3 weeks from everyone being there. Let's see it. Let's
All
just
right, I'm
see it.
excited.
Yeah. There you
Who
go.
wouldn't be?
Yeah.
Thrilled. These guys. Give us a dance.
Yeah. How you guys
Anthony,
liking this roster? You
I'm
guys
not
liking this?
feeling that you're okay.
How you guys like this roster?
Okay, but no,
Overall.
stop. This roster has nothing to do with that move.
No.
That move is irrelevant.
But it is.
If you're considering that a move for your roster, like, come on.
He'll be on the roster.
Yeah, but Gomez was not going to be on
The
your
40-man
roster.
roster.
Either, though. Like, so
you go.
I'm not worried about. You're
but
right.
you're
I'm not
like-
worried about Gomez.
Listen, I'm here to badmouth certain decisions the Cardinals make, but you're just badmouthing. Come on. It's just a
So,
All right. Okay, you're right. And
you're just in a bad mood.
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm in a really good mood. We got my Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. I had a good weekend. I had a really good weekend. A nice weekend, okay?
I noticed a little jump in your step.
Yeah, Brad Thompson, I saw my guy BT. We hosted a trivia night
Yeah, thanks for coming by
on
and saying
Saturday.
hi.
I didn't know you were there.
I actually heard that Anthony was there. I didn't believe him.
I don't know what he's
He
talking
was
about.
at the Ritz.
I looked at the guy. I was like, oh, yeah, he's here. Hey. I got you another one.
Meanwhile, I'm like walking by. BT and I hosted a trivia night. It went very well. We had fun. I saw my Chiefs win yesterday. No, I'm in a really good mood. But when I look at this Cardinals roster, I'm very uninspired, Jamie. Very uninspired.
The roster
It's
or this
fine.
move?
No, this move I don't care about.
So you're just uninspired by the roster overall?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Does the roster inspire you? Thank you. Gary?
You know where I stand.
Thank you. Marsh?
I'm feeling great, Anthony. I'm feeling really good about
I'm
this
excited.
AAA roster.
There it is.
I'm
the
excited
snark.
about spring training. I'm looking forward to seeing who the Cardinals bring back to St. Louis with them, who they're going to have on the roster, just what players, what role they're going to fill, and how this team is better than they were last year. Because, I mean, I guess they're better than they were last year. I don't think that would.
I think they're better than they were last year.
Hey, Carey, quick question
Yes,
here,
sir.
because this just popped up on the TV here. What are your thoughts on the Ravens kicker, Justin Tucker, trying to get his warm-up in, and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce throw his stuff out of the way?
They picked on a kicker.
What are
That's
they?
ridiculous.
If the kicker walks up and punches one of them in the mouth,
He wouldn't have did that either.
No, but why? I would have.
Yeah, he's a kicker, though.
So what?
That's why they
At
did
that
it.
point, I'd be like, hey, boys, guess what? I just punched Patrick Mahomes in the face. Like, let's go. Let's go.
I'm unavailable. Good luck. I got it started, though.
Like, what is that crap?
It's ridiculous.
Mahomes and Kelsey, big tough guys, picking
Yeah.
on a kicker who's just
I
trying to
would've
kick a
liked-
damn field goal and warm up.
I would have liked Roquan Smith to come out there at that moment. Or, somebody.
My question, where the hell is his other teammates?
The kickers go out first. They're out there earlier than everyone else.
Well, they grab his stuff, they throw it, then they
yeah.
pick. Patrick Mahomes grabs his things and throws it away.
Yeah.
I'd have threw it right back off
I
his
probably
skull.
would have as well.
Well, I think the Ravens tried to, and then it cost them. Let's talk about it.
Well, it didn't matter anyways, right? Because they didn't score enough field goals for him to even make a dent.
Yeah, they scored one.
That still
That
angers
was
me.
it. All right, let's talk about it. Did the Chiefs out champion the Ravens? Sorry, did my Chiefs out champion the Ravens yesterday?
They started warm up, apparently.
Yeah, it did. We sent a message early. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Seriously, I saw that, and I was like, where the hell?
FanDuel, bet 5, get 200. What's up?
All right, boys, Super Bowl is upon us here, and what better way to celebrate than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me on Super Bowl Sundays, it's all about scoring the best seat on the couch, maybe grabbing your favorite snack. And, Carey, how about placing some super bets? See what I did there?
Yeah, I do. Jamie, FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or 2 or 3. Not only can you bet on who will win the Super Bowl, but FanDuel has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers, join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins.
But you do have to sign up. Just visit FanDuel.com/fast to sign up. Again, just visit FanDuel.com/fast in order to take advantage of the $200 in bonus bets when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel, where you can make every moment more. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Illinois. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN, as it looks like the Rizzuto show and Rafe is trying to take over the show.
Well, I gotta pull the dead weight, man. These guys are lollygagging down the hallway. I don't even know what they're up to.
That's the quickest break ever. That's the quickest shift change we've ever had.
Did you guys have a quick one? I've literally got caught with my pants down a couple times.
I'd like you to reword that, please. We did not have a quick one.
Well, you guys did come in together. Yeah.
Well, that's not getting any better.
Yeah. Here's Carey.
We got a party going on
They
here.
wanted a real football expert.
That's right.
For a change now that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl.
Oh, congratulations.
They wanted the real Chiefs fan in the building, which I understand.
He's right here.
Yeah.
What do you
Thank
think of
God,
Anthony
brother.
jumping on the bandwagon?
Right. You and I, Rafe. Here we are.
Dude, I'm so sick of the hate.
I know.
I'm so sick of the patriotization of the Chiefs as if we didn't struggle for 50 years waiting for our time in the sun for generational talent. You kidding me?
I mean, you remember the 90s?
Yeah, dude, I just had...
a little excitement with Joe Montana, and that was it. That was all we had.
Yeah. Joe Montana came with his big elbow and beat the Houston Oilers one time, and it was the best thing that ever happened to us since 1969.
It's ridiculous.
I had this argument today. Someone said they're the new Patriots. I said, dude, come on. Look at the stats.
They're nowhere near as good as the Patriots were.
Oh, man.
But we will be.
Well, we will be.
Yeah.
But I go, hey, man, look. He's like, oh, you guys are great through the 90s. You had great 80s. I go, bro, we won one playoff game lost one playoff game in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Lost one in the 80s. That was it. 90s to 2018, the Patrick Mahomes era, we had 18 playoff games. We lost 14 of them, including 9 in a row. And now we're right.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Now you're all
Look at us.
spoiled.
Marcus Mariota completed a pass to himself and beat us the one time.
That's right.
At Arrowhead.
Oh, dude, don't remind me. The
Best
Indianapolis
stadium ever.
game is something that I still wake up sweating over.
That was the Dwayne Bowe game.
Oh, Lord, Dwayne Bowe.
Was that the year they didn't have any receiver catch a touchdown pass?
Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up, man.
So, Rafe, you're in. Chiefs win in the Super Bowl.
I'm in, dude. In fact, I don't want to jinx it, but I might be getting a deal on a ticket, and if I get it, I'm going.
Ooh, there you go.
But I'm kind of scared to go, man, because when your team's in,
You got to go.
But it's
Do
in
I gotta
Vegas,
go?
right?
it's in Vegas, which is dope.
It's a win-win.
But it's also like if I go and they don't win, man, that's going to be I'm going to be thinking about that money.
But you still have Vegas. But you still have the rest of Vegas.
That's true, but this ticket is, I have to not look at my bank account and just pull the trigger on this ticket. It's a good deal compared to $9,000, which is what they were going for yesterday, but it's still not anything I can afford.
So just
on
hedge your bets. So whatever you pay for the ticket, bet on the other team for the same amount. That way if you lose the game, at least you win.
I'm just spending the money
Marshall
anyway.
crap. Marsh would do that.
That is some Marsh. That's a Marsh thinking.
So, Ray, for you, I see you're working out still. You look like you're in good shape. Are you ready for this photo shoot?
Dude, I have been.
That's right.
Yeah. We got
I'm trying to punt as far as I can, man. I went to Precision Fitness, shout out down the street, and he's got me on. He's like, they're just kicking my ass, man. I don't know if you can say it on ESPN radio, but I just did. Dump me out if you have to. And I'm just like, I knew the writing was on the wall, dude. About 4 weeks out, I'm like, I don't see the sweep coming. Not that I didn't have faith in our picks or whatever, but I was like, I got to start fasting, intermittent fasting, and a lot of
cardio, a lot of high rep work.
Dude, I'm on the elliptical every day. I'm doing some high. I go, look, man, I'm going to get some abs airbrush painted on.
That would be great.
And then
Gerard Butler style.
That's right. I'm going to do the Gerard Butler, airbrush them on, and then just take my medicine.
You'll be great. You'll be great.
You guys earned it. You deserve it. All right, I'm going to get out of here and let you guys have your show
Rafe, thanks for stopping by. As we did not pay attention to how long the break was.
That's all right. I realize everybody here. So we're all getting up there. We're all over 40,
just heard the
man.
panic in the hallway.
Yeah, you did.
Rafe's walking by, and I'm like, where is everybody? Come on in. Come on, Rafe.
I was in our office, and all I heard was, Fast Lane! Fast Lane! And I was like, what's going on, man? Did someone come to take their revenge on the Fast Lane? Can I save these guys?
We're all in the cafeteria.
I was just refilling my water, man.
Yeah, same.
By the way,
listen,
our YouTube chat, the Snake Pit, want you to shout them out. They love you.
What up, Snake Pit?
There you go.
There we go.
YouTube chat in the Snake Pit. I'm going to carry his headphones back. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Rafe, you the man. You can listen to Rafe, of course, on our sister station, 105.7 The Point, every morning with the Rizzuto Show. Our mortal enemies, but
great dudes.
How do you not like a guy like Rafe?
I just don't tell anybody.
All right, so the Baltimore Ravens. We started talking about how Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, they booted Justin Tucker's stuff at the start of the game. But you could tell like that just continued during the game too. The Ravens were just they wanted to flex consistently. Then they got into trouble. Kyle Van Noy cannot be flagged for a personal foul when he's you can't if you're Roquan Smith, okay. If you're Kyle Van Noy, dude.
Well,
what are you doing?
He didn't really do anything that egregious in my opinion, but the second
always
guy
gonna catch the second guy.
The second guy always gets caught. There were
the slowest.
There were too many instances where you know that Baltimore put an emphasis on hitting Patrick Mahomes with the hopes that he would fall or fail or succumb to the pressure, and that's not who Patrick Mahomes is. He's not a weak-minded person. He's not a feeble individual who is going to, fold when pressure hits or adversity hits. They were hitting him hard, often, and it just went over the line a couple of times, trying to be too aggressive, trying to, I guess, give the example that they are the more physical team, and they got flagged for it. Roquan Smith got a penalty, which I didn't think was a terrible decision in terms of jumping off sides, making it 1st and 10.
Yeah, it was actually smart.
But the way he did it, obviously the referees knew that it was intentional, so they gave him a 15-yard penalty. You had the penalty where the D lineman smacked Patrick Mahomes in the face. Like, there were some penalties there that really cost the Ravens and put them in a bad position, but it was because their mindset was, we're going to try to cut the head of the snake off. That's what we were doing. And Patrick Mahomes is the head of the snake. And he's not going to fold or fall because of it. He's a tough football player, both mentally and physically, and just kept playing football and not even worrying about all of the extracurricular things that Baltimore had going on.
Yeah, I think that Baltimore, so I've played on teams before they get caught up in this. And I remember, I forget what year, maybe it was 98. Maybe 1998, maybe 99. We played the Dallas Stars in the second round of the playoffs. And we had so much focus on trying to be physical against their top players. Like, finish all your hits. Go, make sure you get in his face. And you know what?
Yeah.
We spent so much time worrying about that we didn't spend enough time worrying about winning the games.
Right.
And end up biting us because we lost that series. It was a great series, but we still lost that series. And I felt like the beginning of the series, too much emphasis was put on trying to play the physical bad guy role. And I feel like the Ravens, defensively, that's what they tried to do yesterday. They tried to do all this intimidation stuff. But when you got somebody like Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, like, you got guys say, you're not rattling the cage.
Right.
If you think you're the first one to try and do it, I mean, that's your first mistake.
Right.
Because you're not.
Travis Kelce and at least one Chiefs offensive lineman, I'm sure there's more, were laughing at Kyle Van Noy as soon as that flag came out. They were laughing. They knew they had him. The Ravens were completely worked yesterday.
It was a mindset of, to me, when I look at the Ravens team, this is the thing to keep in mind. Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs team has been in this situation before. This is almost expected. This is the 6th time he's been in the AFC Championship game, 4th Super Bowl. It's not something that they are unfamiliar with. So when you have experience doing it, it's a lot easier. Mm-hmm. Baltimore, this iteration of them, that's their first time in that game. A lot of those guys, it's just a different mindset and a different animal. And I'm sure John Harbaugh was explaining, hey, we got to be more physical. We got to do this. We got to hit them. And they just took it to the extreme. And as you said, Jamie, let the game, the real purpose of the game, which is to win it and get after, make tackles, be physical, they let that part of it take over control of what they really needed to do, which was play sound defense, get guys on the ground, play good defense in the secondary, and defend balls, and not let Travis Kelce catch 15 passes in the first half. They just got away from all of that and wanting to be too physical, and really forgot the purpose of why they were there for a time being.
The Patriots' strength, too, besides having Tom Brady, was always they were going to have a game plan that was specific to their opponent, and they were always going to be smart about it. They didn't just, hey, this is what we do. they did what they did if it was right for the matchup.
Right.
They did whatever they needed to win that game and not think about the rest of the season or the postseason and watch how that play. The Ravens, the Chiefs remind me of that a little bit. The Chiefs are going to game plan specific. What do we do against Lamar today? And they did it. They executed. The Ravens showed up and said, well, we just do what we do.
Right.
And they lost because of it. The defense started to play very well in the second half. You got to give them credit. But the offense didn't make any adjustments, and you could tell they were just living and dying on Lamar making enough plays. And if Zay Flowers doesn't taunt, or if he doesn't reach out and try to score a touchdown,
different.
It might be. But I still have the Chiefs winning that one.
That touchdown makes it 17-14.
It never felt, though, that Baltimore was in control. It didn't. From the outset, it didn't.
It did not, but it didn't feel that way the week before when they played the Texans. Obviously, that's a lesser team in comparison to the Chiefs. The first half versus the Texans was similar to pretty much how that entire game went yesterday for the Ravens. I think if they scored that touchdown, obviously it changes things. If you don't have the personal foul penalty, the taunting penalty that he got, and then if you scored that touchdown, you're down 17-14. Baltimore didn't give Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs anything in the second half. They just needed a play to be made offensively to get them going. Yeah. And if they would have gotten it, I think it's a different game. And I think they probably win it, but you put the ball on the ground, you have penalties, you have dumb mistakes, you have too many things that don't go your way, and you lose that game.
Yeah. Well, Chiefs advance. They're going to play the 49ers in the Super Bowl, and it should be a great matchup. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. The Blues, 5-game winning streak. Jamie talked a little bit about the differences and the changes, but what else? What are the differences in this version compared to the Blues that were struggling to gain any sort of traction? We'll start off with the power play. Next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Super Bowl 58 is set as the Kansas City Chiefs will take on the San Francisco 49ers. We just talked about the Chiefs and Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. If you missed that conversation or any conversation from today, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com, check out the podcast page, or go to the free 101 mobile app, and you can find our full shows there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Blues have now won 5 games in a row as they beat the Los Angeles Kings yesterday in overtime, 4-3 the final. Braden Shen with the game-winning goal. The Blues will look for their 6th straight win against the Blue Jackets tomorrow night. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We're going to dive more into the Blues and the differences that we are seeing now compared to earlier in the year. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. The Blues, 5 straight wins now after they knocked off the LA Kings over the weekend. Jamie, we kind of got into this a little bit earlier in the show. But what's the difference in this version of the Blues, this 5-game winning streak, compared to what we have seen for most of the season, which has been inconsistency?
Yeah,
and should we just start with the power play?
Well, the power play is a huge part of it. We talked about that, ad nauseum to start the season. There were several games where, one could argue there's about 4 or 5 games that the Blues could have won, or at least gotten a point in, had the power play scored a goal. And I know that the guys that are out there on the power play and the players that are selected to be a part of both units, they take a lot of pride in that. And as it continues to kind of not go well, it gets harder and harder to do it because you're feeling the stress of it. Every bad pass, every shot that misses the net, every bad decision now is magnified because this is just not good. Power play is terrible. It's awful. And it was not good at all. It was like at 8-point-something% at one point, which is completely unacceptable. So Drew Bannister gets here, and there wasn't an immediate change. Like, there wasn't. And then they incrementally now have changed some thought process. The one big thing that's really helped it is when Drew Bannister and the coaching staff just decided we're going to have a net front presence. Like, no matter what. Like, there's no more buzzing around. Both power play units are going to have a net front presence, and those guys are Jake Neighbors and Oscar Sundqvist. And that's it. There you go. You're designated to the net front. Obviously, Jake Neighbors and Oscar Sundqvist do a good job of popping out to be available for passes to relieve some of the pressure. Then they get back to the net. They move over. They get back to the front of the net. Both guys have been rewarded with scoring goals in that area. And overall, the Blues have been rewarded with a better power play. We talked about it earlier today. In the last 9 games, the power play is 40%. Like, that's an astronomical percentage to have. At one point when we played against the New York Rangers here, their power play was 30%.
Yeah.
And we thought, wow, that's really good. It is. Like, if you can have a power play somewhere between 25 and 30%, like, you are operating at a serious clip.
Yeah.
So now the Blues have 40% over the last 9 games. It's no wonder they're having success. That's not all the power play, but, hey, it doesn't hurt when you're getting a goal, or in some cases 2 goals in a game because of your power play. It's great. And it forces the opposition, too, to pump the brakes on some of the bad penalties. Mm-hmm. If you know that you're going to get scored on, or the game could change in a heartbeat, you operate a little differently. You don't play as aggressive sometimes.
Am I crazy when I say this? It feels like we talked about it earlier, how stagnant they would be on the power play as well. We were watching, I think, the Panthers a couple of weeks ago, how they moved. And I said, well, why don't we do that? But now it feels like the Blues aren't as stagnant, just hanging around the perimeter. Like you said, they're moving a little bit more. Is that also helping with the ability to score?
Yeah, it is. And, they're passing the puck much better. They're not. This is the biggest struggle that a lot of creative players have on a power play is they try to get creative too often. And all that means is they're trying to make the most difficult play when they shouldn't. Why? Because they're gifted hockey players. Like, I can make this play. Like, this is like Patrick Mahomes. I can make that throw. You know,
darn right he can.
Doesn't mean you should always try to make that throw. Like at Lamar yesterday. I can make that throw.
You can't.
No, you can't.
triple
To myself,
coverage.
I can. Yes, you can.
Well,
But you know, for me, the execution is one thing. They're passing the puck around. They're establishing their zone time, and then they're looking for other plays. Whereas the start of the season was like one pass, hang on to it, stick handle, stick handle, stick handle, and then look for the home run play. Doesn't work. All the way back down. Now you got to start over. At least now they're moving the puck around, and when it does become a little stagnant, you know, this is where Scott Perunovich does a good job of moving. Braden Shen has done a good job of popping in and out from the bumper spot to the one-timer guy. Jake Neighbors will go from the net front down low to the goal line. We saw that play that passed him. He steps out, tries to make a play.
Yeah.
Then there's a down low play that's available. So for me, they've simplified a lot of things, and they've executed better. And that results in putting more pressure on the penalty kill to be airtight. And I think that's why they've ultimately been more successful, is not that they've dumbed it down, but they simplified it, and then when the big plays are there, they've been able to make them.
So moving forward now, the question is, can they sustain it? You've got one more game before, and it's tomorrow night against the Blue Jackets. You got one more game before the break. In some respects, it's a good time to take a break because you've got this mad push, and now you can kind of exhale for a second. But do you kill the momentum going into the break?
To be determined, right? Like, one doesn't know until it happens. For me, the biggest focus, if I'm the Blues, is winning tomorrow night. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the break. I don't care about the rest, the rust, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Win tomorrow night. You win that game, that makes it 6 in a row. It puts you, well, you're already in a playoff spot right now, but puts you up probably above the LA Kings in the standings. And yes, would it be nice to keep that going 2 nights from now or 3 nights from now, go for 7, and 2 more nights after that, you go for 8? Yes, it would be nice. But you also have some guys that are banged up, too. You have Justin Falk, Scott Perunovich right now on the sidelines, Kasperi Kapanen, who was walking around yesterday without the boot. He had a little strut to him. I was kind of giggling, said, "You're strutting." He's like, "Yeah, I'll be ready." So you'll get some team speed back with Kasperi Kapanen after the break. So here's the argument that your team overall could be better coming out of the break. What I don't like is some of the slumping teams, they have a bit of a minute to reset.
Yeah.
Like the LA Kings, they've just been an awful spiral here. Their last 10 games are 2-5-3. Just not good here at all. And now they'll have a chance to go away for an extended period of time and kind of readjust, reset, regroup. But again, it's all of it is to be determined. And the pressure that the Blues have, the kind of hockey that the Blues have had to play in the last 9-10 games, that's not easy to play that way. You're winning 1-goal games. And by the way, the Blues have the highest winning percentage in the NHL when it comes to 1-goal games. They're almost at 800 winning percentage in 1-goal game, which is awesome. So you take that, maybe the team gets rested up a little bit, and maybe even get a better version of the Blues coming back. Jordan Binnington gets a little bit of a breather. He's been fantastic. Some of your guys playing a ton of minutes. Colton Parayko, he gets to relax a little bit, let things heal. So I would like to look at it from a positive standpoint of win against the Blue Jackets and the break becomes easier. If you lose against the Blue Jackets, now the break is the enemy for me. So for me, as a coaching staff and as leadership group, I'm talking about let's finish this thing the right way. There's no reason you shouldn't be pounding the Columbus Blue Jackets at all, especially here at home. You got a good record at home. One of their great young players, Fantilli, just got hurt the other night. He's not going to be available tomorrow night. It's a perfect time and a perfect opportunity for the Blues to close this thing out, put a little exclamation point on this part of the season.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Let's do our Sports Six-Pack next. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Again, 314-399-9646. Got a question for us, send it there. We'll hit it in our Sports Six-Pack here in the Fastlane.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six Pack is now.
All right, time for our Sports Six Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Marsh, go.
Question number 1.
All right, from the 314, does their game look elevated because of the talent around them? We were talking about Matthew Kessel earlier today, and, he sort of came out of nowhere, right? Does his game look elevated because he's not playing with minor league players? He's not playing with college players. He's playing with NHL players. And, Carey, have you seen that in the NFL, too, when you were playing?
Well, my mind went to Brock Purdy initially. Just stop. When you are when you trust me, you're going to be better with the talent that you have in San Francisco than some of these other teams that he could have possibly landed on. So it makes your life a little bit easier when you're playing with great players. Sometimes you don't have to do too much. And I think Matthew Kessel is probably in that role as well. You don't have not much. I don't want to say much is expected of you, but you don't have as much pressure on you when you have really good players around you.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Matthew Kessel is a unique one, though, I will say, because he stepped in his very first game. He played against Crosby and Malkin the entire game. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, he's played against other teams' top lines, whether it's the first line or the second line. It's not like he's being served up underhand pitches.
Right.
Like, he's getting after it. I think it's just a case to where his game translates to the NHL model. Like, he is an NHL player. And probably playing in the minors, look, playing in the minors is chaotic. I'll tell you that much, because you got about 3 or 4 guys on the team that could actually play in the NHL. The rest of them, they're there for a reason. Either they physically are unable or mentally incapable. And that's the bottom line.
Which one is worse?
What, mentally incapable?
Indeed.
I'll take a slower player that knows what the hell he's doing. Trust me, I play with some guys, Anthony. I question how they get out the front door.
Those guys scare me.
And they got all sorts of ability. They're fast, they're big, they're flying around, they have no idea. And you're like, this guy's a hazard. And then defensively, like, you have your guy, you know what you're supposed to do, and then his guy's wide open, ends up back, and then the guy's looking at you like, wow, why didn't you stop that?
What the hell?
Really? Really? So
You don't know what you're doing, do you?
God.
Does it frustrate you when you see players like that? Because the simplest things that you learn growing up, they're at one of the highest levels. Like, you're playing professionally, whether you're in the NHL or the AHL. Does it frustrate you when you see those players make those mistakes when they're the simplest mistakes, things that you learn growing up?
That's the most frustrating thing in the world.
Yeah.
And for coaches, too. Like, you got to understand, like, some of these guys are so talented. That's why they're in the NHL. They're so freaking good physically that they can't play in the American League because it's they're out of place. They're too good. But then they get up here and they get to the NHL and they're good, but then you just see the mental mistakes over and over and over, and you're like, really? And then you try to coach this player, and then they're unable to retain information or unwilling to retain information. Sometimes it doesn't matter. It's one or the other.
The inability to retain information it does it for me.
Yeah.
That'll make me run my head into a wall. Like, I just told you that. Huh? Okay.
Pretty much. Start over. So, yeah, it's very frustrating to have a player that's mentally incapable of figuring out their mistakes.
Carey, that reminds me of, and Jamie, I think maybe you told the story, but of Evgeny Malkin, whenever a coach would tell him to do something, he'd be like, I no speak English.
Oh. So many Russian players over the years were like, no understand. No understand. You throw a couple of vodkas in them, they're giving a dissertation. Well, guys, I'm telling you. Don't worry about this. We're playing this zone, that zone. We're having to overload on the power play. You're like, but I didn't think you could speak English. It's okay. I did it too when I went over there. I did. It was true though. I didn't speak a word of Russian.
You didn't know.
Nothing at all. The coach would yell at me. I'm like, buddy, Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Like, I have no idea what you're yelling at me for, why you're making eye contact with me right now, or what I did wrong, because you have never spoke English or explained one thing to me.
Yeah.
So I just sit there and smile, be like, okay.
I can sense your tone on this one, but
Okay, Valerie.
Guess you're not happy.
Valerie Bracken. That was his name. He just sit there and yell at me. I'm like, what the? All right.
fair enough.
Cool.
Go for it.
Question number 2.
From the 314, why is it that baseball managers get accused of being puppets in the front office, but you don't hear that as much in hockey or other sports? It seems like it's more of a widespread problem throughout baseball rather than just Ollie and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Because baseball is run by analytics. And so it's easy.
Carey.
It's not.
No.
They don't go and have a sheet that say, hey, this is what we're going to do
Football
today.
doesn't have analytics?
Yeah, we don't.
Buddy,
We don't
come
have
on.
a sheet.
You do. You got
No.
so much crap going on. So
No,
does hockey.
I agree.
So does hockey.
I think it's absurd how much time coaches spend in the office. I've said that it's one of the reasons why I'm so hesitant to lean into that profession, because I don't see a purpose of being there from 6 a.m. till 2 a.m. I just don't think that that's.
Yeah, that's a grind. I'm not gonna push back on that. I mean, we drive up. I drive past, or I drive to the practice rink here for the Blues, and I see the coaches getting out of their cars at 7 a.m. and it's a game day. And I'm like, okay, so 7 a.m. We're looking at 11 o'clock tonight. And not even then, because you do your post game video, quickly do some
Get
clips,
home.
get ready for the next one. It's very demanding. What was the question again?
Why Major League Baseball managers are
So I
puppets.
think it's because the game's so slow. And hear me out. You
was part of the
operate
question.
from one batter to the next batter is a different sequence all the time, and from one pitch to the next pitch, you have 20 seconds or 18 seconds depending on the pitch clock, and you can rearrange your defensive guys. In hockey, everything's happening fast. Once you drop the puck, like, it's on. And sometimes there may not be a whistle for 5 minutes out there. So you have to make your line changes, get your matchups, get your combinations going. So I think for ice hockey, that's where the big difference is between baseball and hockey. Now, for football, I mean, I would think it's got to be somewhat the same.
Well, it's tough to make adjustments during a series. You can make your adjustments after the series ends, whether you score or have to punt, or at halftime, quick adjustments, things that you notice that they're doing. But it's difficult in the midst of it to say, hey, real quick. It's a difficult. That's why great quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, the guys that can be coaches on the field and make those adjustments during the series in plays. Those are the quarterbacks that get paid a lot of money and have a lot of success.
And I think a lot of times in the NFL and the NHL, the owners hire GMs and they want to collaborate with the head coach. So it's like the head coach and the GM, they know their lanes, but they're kind of working together. In Major League Baseball, it's like the owners seemingly hire the president of baseball operations, and then they make the decision on who to go with the manager. But it almost seems like there is a clear pecking order when it comes to baseball. And I think you're right. There's the slow nature of the game leads to more time to analyze the data, analyze analytics. And if you run your team based on projections and what they could do, you also want your manager to manage that way. So I think there's a clear pecking order when it comes to baseball. So you get managers that are more just, okay, whatever you want me to do here, boss.
Well, and in football, it's not like the GM is calling down on the headset, hey,
Right.
man, we need to run a screen here. We need to run the ball to the left side.
That is true. On him one time.
we talked about it.
And he had a
He
dry
put a headset
report.
on that second half.
Set on in the second half.
They do the same thing as
What do you call this play?
what's his name? Our guy in Tampa.
Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians, when they gave him a headset, they didn't even have a
wasn't
wire.
plugged in.
They didn't plug him in. They're like, here,
Yeah.
Tom's coaching. We're gonna give you a headset,
Right.
and you can shake your hands and but it's not on.
He's calling his own plays,
Yeah,
but
he's got it.
it's going to nobody.
Bruce is like, okay, we're
Yeah.
winning. I'm fine.
Right.
It's like those kid cars where, like, you're actually driving, but the kid is on the other side. It looks
Right.
like he's in the wheel, and
Yep.
he's the one that's driving it.
There you
That
go.
was Tom and Bruce Arians for a while.
Question number 3.
From the 636, do you guys think the UFL moving the league to start in April instead of middle of February will hurt their business? You have Major League Baseball, MLS, NBA playoffs, and NHL playoffs all going on during the start and middle of the season.
I think it hurts the players more than anything because it's pushing the season back. This is, I think that season ended the Battlehawk season ended when? In
Too
May?
soon, Carey. Too soon.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Which would give you a chance to
It's true.
mini camp, training camp.
Yeah.
This is obviously going to be pushed back a little bit longer, so now you're going to have guys maybe not have the opportunity to be in a training camp for the NFL if they make it. I think it just hurts them. But as far as people watching, the people that are going to watch, I think.
Yep.
Regardless of what's going on. You got people that love football, and so they don't care if it's a baseball game on at the same time. They would much rather watch football.
I think the inaugural season is a really big moment for that league because you're going to get eyeballs on that game trying to figure out what do we got here, because you had the USFL before, the XFL. You're kind of splitting up the pot of that level of player. Now they're all going to be in the same spot to be able to play. I think people will be curious, and I don't know. I don't have the solutions for this, but to me, they've got to figure out how to keep those eyeballs.
Yeah. I agree ultimately with Carey when he says if somebody's going to watch, they're going to watch. I mean, they're going to run up into hockey or basketball or March Madness. They're going to run up and they're going to run into that anyways. They're just trying to avoid the NFL, and they'll do that with this. By the way, we need a new Gauntlet contestant, too. So if you want to text in 314-399-9646, text in the word Gauntlet, you might have an opportunity to play.
Question number 4.
From the 314, in baseball, we talk about having a 1 and 2 pitchers. Does that apply to hockey to be successful? A 1-2 punch on every line. Let's go Blues.
Well, yeah, it would certainly help to have a 1-2 punch on every line. Sometimes you'll just take a 1 punch on the third line or a fourth line. I mean, look at the success right now that the Blues are having. It's because they have more than one guy available. Now, Kyrou, Thomas, and Buchnevich have been contributing here as of late. Old Bucci, he's really had some success here, which is great to see him kind of break out of that slump that he was in, goal-scoring slump, that is.
Yeah.
And then Braden Shen went through, how many games where he didn't even have a point?
9. Was it 9?
Didn't even have a point.
Yeah.
Like, not even the accidental assist that hits off your shin pad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now, look, he's on a
Holy
tear.
crap, that went in?
So, yeah, it definitely matters to have, 1-2 punch on every line would be fantastic, but certainly your first couple of lines, you need that.
No. All right, it's Fastline on 101 ESPN. We'll get the Gauntlet next.
Gentlemen, are you currently using ED meds? Nobody cares. All I care about is you're ready when it's game time, but I don't want you to spend too much money. No. That little blue pill, the gummy thing, too much money. Stop, guys. Head over to the Medicine Shop in St. Charles. They are the destination for cheap ED meds. They have a generic called Sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. That's right, less than $2 a pill. Prescription is required, and they have a great pharmacy over there as well. And great representatives are going to answer all your questions, whether it's cold and flu season, allergies, aches, pains, whatever it is. Head in there, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. They love hearing that. And then just ask them what's going on. They are going to help you, I promise. And another way that they help you out is it got free, discreet shipping and delivery to your home or your workplace when it comes to regular medicines that you take. And so as far as maybe you can't get to the pharmacy, let the pharmacy come to you. It's a fantastic service. I utilize that service. It's great. It's a game changer, and it's available at the Medicine Shop in St. Charles. So please stop by again, check it out. You'll love it. If not, check them out online. Visit them at stcharles.pharmacy. That's stcharles.pharmacy.
warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
The Gauntlet is powered by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit Mastor.com.
Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in Chris, and I think Chris is from the Snake Pit, so what up, Snake Pit?
I am.
All right, good man. Chris, are you first-timer here?
No, this is my first time in this incarnation of the fight.
Okay.
I should say.
Did you do the Gauntlet?
I think I've done 3 times, I think.
Oh, wow.
This will be my third.
How have you fared?
Well, what's your record?
Yeah.
Well, I beat Marsh. Then I lost to you, Anthony, in football.
Nice.
And then my second time, I took on Marsh again, and he beat me.
Okay. All right. Wow. So are you targeting Marsh again today, or do you want to go Carey, Jamie, or me?
I think I'm going to take on you, Anthony.
Wow. After my
I'm going to
Chiefs
change
won?
it up.
Feeling good.
I think that's why he's doing it. He doesn't like you being a Chiefs fan.
That's fine. All right, Chris. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
All right, Chris. Anthony's going to head into the cone of silence or the cone of shame for him after bandwagoning the way he has today. All right. I need you to tell Marshy to spin the wheel, please.
All right, spin Marsh.
All right, Chris. So what are you hoping for?
Well, I obviously don't watch football against Anthony. Lost him already before and that. So pretty much anything else besides that would be fine.
All right. Well, Carey, why don't you tell him the good news?
The good news is you got football, son.
Yeah. Football it is. Marshy's going to pass over the questions here. While he's doing that, little reminder that each question is worth 2 points. If you use the options, answer correctly, it's worth 1 point. And, of course, if you get it wrong, it's 0 points. Chris, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Again, the category football question number 1. The first time the 49ers won the Super Bowl, which team did they beat?
Oh, my God. Options, please.
Okay. Was it the San Diego Chargers, Cincinnati Bengals, or Pittsburgh Steelers?
Let's see. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
Final answer?
Yep.
All right, Chris. Who was the starting running back for those 1981 San Francisco 49ers?
Wow.
I mean, I was born in 83. Wow. Do I go with a guess from Techno Super Bowl?
Nice.
It couldn't have been Roger Craig, could it? I doubt it. No way. Just give me the options.
Ricky Patton, Wendell Tyler, or Earl Cooper?
Oh, my God. Give me, what were they again? One more time.
Ricky Patton, Wendell Tyler, or Earl Cooper?
Shot in the dark. Just give me Tyler. No clue.
Final answer?
Yep.
Question number 3. Who was the first head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs who led them to their first Super Bowl championship?
Who made these questions?
They hate us. Whoever it is hates all of us. Trust me.
This is brutal.
It is.
Options? Yeah, sure.
Options are Hugh Taylor, Hank Strom, or Marv Levy or Levi? Levy. Marv
It's a little ahead of
Levy.
Marshy's time. Marv Levy.
Can I phone a friend?
Not in this version of the Gauntlet.
Okay, options one more time.
Hugh Taylor, Hank Strom, or Marv Levy?
The last one, Marv Levy.
Final answer?
Sure.
All right, question 4. Maybe this one's a little nicer. We'll see. Doubt it. Never mind. That Chiefs team beat the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl IV. Who was Minnesota's quarterback in that Super Bowl? Oh, my gosh. Did Randy Carricker make these? This is like from his prime.
Did Grant make these questions?
I don't know. If I find out who did, I'll fire him. I promise.
I was going to say, somebody needs to go. Yeah, options, sure.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Me too. All right, was it Fran Tarkenton, Joe Kapp, or Tommy Kramer?
What was the second one?
Joe Kapp.
Sure, let's roll with that.
All right. All right, buddy. Well done. That's not easy. We'll call in Anthony here, and we'll see how Anthony does. But those are some ancient questions. Oh, Anthony's coming. We won't talk about it anymore because, in case he hears, we don't want Anthony cheating on us here today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right, Anthony, as you pull up here, plug back in.
How do we do?
How's it going to silence?
It's lonely. No Mike Ryder, no nothing.
There were a lot of people out there moments before you went out there.
You know what? You're right. They must be angry because they're not Chiefs fan. Like me.
It's a good point.
Living your best life.
I certainly am, man. It's exciting that they're back in it.
6th time in the
All right, Anthony.
AFC Championship.
Yeah.
I've got great news for you.
What do we got?
Well, 1, pack a lunch. 2,
Okay.
it's football.
Oh, I like football.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, have a ball.
Oh, boy. I'm like looking at it. It's like 5 minutes. I go, uh-oh.
We'll see. All right, question number 1. Anthony, the first time the 49ers won the Super Bowl, which team did they beat?
The first time the 49ers won the Super Bowl. Who did they beat? The Vikings have lost 6 Super Bowls. I'm going to go with the Vikings. Final answer.
All right, Anthony. Question number 2. Who was the starting running back for those 1981 San Francisco 49ers?
The starting running back?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I have a name in my head. I'll narrow it down though.
What's the options?
Yes, please.
Ricky Patton, Wendell Tyler, or Earl Cooper?
Nope. Can I get those again?
Who are you thinking?
Somebody else.
Ricky Patton, Wendell Tyler, or Earl Cooper?
Ricky Patton. Final answer.
Question number 3. Who was the first head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs who led them to their first Super Bowl championship?
Hank Stram. Final answer. I know my Chiefs.
All right. Final question here, Antoine. That Chiefs team beat the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl IV.
Uh-oh.
Who was Minnesota's quarterback in that Super Bowl?
In Super Bowl IV, you say, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can I have the options, please?
Sure you can. Was it Fran Tarkenton, Joe Kapp, or Tommy Kramer?
Franz Arlton, that'd probably be an obvious one, right? So why don't we go with, who's the last guy?
Tommy Kramer.
Yeah, it was him. Tommy Kramer. Final answer.
Okay, let's go over these. Question number 1. The first time the 49ers won the Super Bowl, which team did they beat? Chris, you said...
Oh, jeez, I'm an idiot. I said,
well, let's let it play out.
Let's let another NFC team, didn't I?
I was going to say, aren't the Vikings in the NFC as well?
Yeah, that was awful. We're just going to let it marinate.
All I was thinking about was them losing 6. That's all I thought about.
No, you did great, Anthony. I'm sure they were in the other conference at some point.
They weren't.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
All right, Chris said the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That would make more sense.
Anthony, you said the Minnesota Vikings. Pittsburgh Steelers were an option. Minnesota Vikings were not.
I can't believe it, considering they play in the same damn conference.
Answer is...
the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Neither player scores a point.
They beat them twice, too, in the 80s.
They did, Anthony.
But,
one.
you know, the Vikings lost 6 Super Bowls.
They sure did.
None
Just
against the 49ers.
All right, question 4. Let's go all the way down to the bottom. That Chiefs team beat the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 4. Who was Minnesota's quarterback in that Super Bowl? Chris, you said Joe Cap. Anthony,
I did.
you did. You did.
We wrote it down.
We wrote it down, and we have the audio. You did.
Can't remember.
Anthony, you said Tommy Kramer. Marshy, the answer is
Yeah, this quarterback was known for his superb leadership and running ability. Joe Cap.
Wow.
but
Wow.
Chris needed the options. So Chris is up 1-0 right now. Let's go back to question 2. Who was the starting running back for the 1981 San Francisco 49ers?
You remember them?
Chris, you said Wendell Tyler. Anthony, you said Ricky Patton. Both of you used the options. Carey, answer is
Ricky Patton.
Ricky Patton. We are tied up at 1. One question remaining. Both of you have different answers. Who was the first head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs who led their team to the first Super Bowl championship? Chris, I believe you said
Marv
Levy. Anthony, I believe you said Hank Strom. Anthony is correct. He didn't use the option. If Anthony's correct, he'll win. Chris used the options, took Marv Levy. Marshy, answer is
I mean, you got to hand it to the Kansas City Chiefs fan. It's Hank Stram.
Chris.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
He got you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with my stupidity.
That was a tough one today.
That was difficult, and I made it even harder. Jamie.
There's some tough questions. I did say who made these questions at one point. Randy Carricker. Randy chimed in and said, these are easy for an old guy.
Chris.
Very funny. That's good.
Chris, hey, man, great effort. Nice job. We appreciate you listening.
Good job, Chris.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good
See
one.
ya.
Hey, have a good one. Bye.
I mean, the Vikings, huh, champ?
Yeah. I mean,
Super
one,
Bowl versus the 49ers.
they're not in the NFC. 2, they haven't even lost 6 Super Bowls. They've lost 4.
Well, they'll lose 2 more soon.
I hope so. That means they're getting there.
I got to be honest, I deserved that because I was just trying to take a dig at Marsh with the Vikings losing. Not that he cared when they lost the 4. And it bit me in the face, you know?
It was fun, though.
See, Jamie, when it's blank you, it's blank me.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. Yeah,
You get
I
it.
agree. Well said,
Yeah.
by the way.
You know what, Anthony? You just got points, though, right?
I did. You know,
All
the
you got to do is
Chiefs-
just get points.
Well, just get a Chiefs question on there, and I'm typically pretty good. Yeah, just get points. You take the points when they're available.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
We're going to try to...
Dan Campbell reference.
yeah, that certainly was.
Come on.
Yeah. No, it was. Carey,
He played well.
you defended Dan.
I did.
Earlier.
Big time.
We're going to get back into it next, even though I made the wrong decision. Not once, but twice. Here on 101 ESPN.
Just once. Last year, boys, the greatest tight end to ever play the game, Rob Gronkowski. He went wide left on FanDuel's Kick of Destiny.
You said
but-
tight end. I mean, he's not a kicker.
No, you're right, Anthony. He's still one of the greatest. He should be able to kick the ball a little better than he did. That's why they're going to give him a second opportunity. He's going for Kick of Destiny Part 2, and this time you can play along. Carey, all you have to do, it's real simple, even Anthony can do this, is choose if Gronk will make or miss.
I got no comeback for that.
Jamie, you're right. You can get a free pick right now because if you're right, you'll win a share of $10 million in bonus bets. Everyone can get in on the action when Gronk takes his shot at redemption before Super Bowl 58. Whether your team make or team miss, just head to FanDuel Sportsbook app to get your pick in. It's absolutely free.
Yeah, then tune in before the game to see Gronk's kick live. You'll get a share of $10 million in bonus bets if you're right. If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/fast to sign up. Again, FanDuel.com/fast to sign up. And you can make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Illinois. No purchase necessary. $10 million prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct pick. Prize issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I just felt really good about us converting and getting our momentum and not letting them play long ball. They were bleeding the clock out. That's what they do. And I wanted to get the upper hand back, and it's easy hindsight, and I get it, I get that. But I don't regret those decisions, and that's hard. It's hard because we didn't come through. It wasn't able to work out. But I don't, and I understand the scrutiny I'll get. That's part of the gig, man. But we just didn't work out.
That was Dan Campbell, head coach of the Lions, following their 34-31 loss, and it was a collapse. They were up 17. At halftime. In fact, my buddies, a lot of them are Lions fans because, as you know, Jamie, I grew up on 9 Mile.
Yep.
I was getting some text messages.
Just down the block.
Just down the block. So my one buddy, Drew, he texted me. He's like, this, he goes, they're collapsing. Like, this is it. He started to feel it. And I said, hey, you're a Lions fan, okay? You're not a Falcons fan. And just as I texted that, on the screen it said, largest comeback in NFC Championship. These 49ers over the Atlanta Falcons in 2013. I'm like, oh boy. Dan Campbell has been the guy that has gone for it all season. He's been aggressive. That it's part of his kind of his motto. I believe in my guys and all that. And his guys, as Carey, you talked about it, his guys let him down last night. I will say this, though. Dan Campbell evolved as a head coach throughout the course of last season. So not this past one, but last season. He made a lot of mistakes, especially in crunch time. And at the end of the year, when they beat the Packers, some of the mistakes that he was making in-game as some of the clock issues and managing the clock, he corrected. I would say this, even though if your motto is, hey, we're just going to go for it, we're going to be ultra-aggressive, how do you evolve as a head coach? And I think in this case last night, just my opinion, Dan Campbell's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. I'm the guy that said the Vikings and the 49ers just played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a common mistake.
Yeah, and that the Vikings lost 6 and they lost 4.
Another one.
Idiot. But if I'm judging fourth down situations, I have to judge what the moment is, what the situation is. How much time is on the clock? How many possessions does my opponent have? How many possessions do I go up if I'm up? 3-possession game. Possessions are limited in the second half. Time, it's in the third quarter. Kick the field goal. Go up by 17 again. Erase what the 49ers partly just did. And the last one, you at least could have tied it. Take your breath. I know what you're saying, Carey. You're right. Reynolds dropped one. Gibbs fumbled. The corner had one go off his domicile. Like, the Lions choked. It's not just all Dan Campbell in these 2 decisions. But I think in those moments, I think you have to understand what the situation calls for. That's my take on it.
When I look at the first fourth down attempt, again, I didn't have a problem with it. You just didn't complete it. You didn't do your job. Ball was thrown where it needed to be thrown. Receiver dropped it. No excuse for it. I'm sure if you would have asked Josh Reynolds today, 9 times out of 10 he's catching that ball. That happened to be the one time where he didn't. And so that happens. Didn't have a problem with it, though, because the play was perfect. Everything was right. The execution just didn't come through. That's part of football. Players have to make plays. You talked about the Brandon Ayuk catch. That was a wonderful catch. I had a coach tell me, my running back coach, Kirby Wilson, I wish there was a statistical number we could put on this, but he would tell me every time when the defense was on the field, if you see a DB drop a interception, more times than not, the opposing team's going to score. And we would sit there and watch it. If one of our defensive backs dropped a pass that was right in his hands, maybe it's a pick six if he catches it, not a miraculous play, but a play that should be made. More times than not, the offense is going to score on that drive. It just happened. So that happened. Then the next drive, the very next opportunity you get, you're still winning the game 24-17. You fumble the ball and they recover it. I don't know how many fumbles Jahmyr Gibbs had this year. I would say not many, because I haven't seen him put the ball on the ground often. But he put it on the ground first carry. And so now, short field for San Francisco, they tie the game up. At that point, all things seemed like they went out of the window. And it's unfortunate because Detroit was leading and controlling that game for the entirety of the game. From the opening drive when they ran the reverse and Jameson Williams runs in and scores a touchdown. They were the team that was the aggressor, and that's how they played. And unfortunately, they just didn't make enough plays when it came down to it.
Nice night for the 2 local kids. James Williams scored the 2 touchdowns. Sam Laporte had another great game. So that was good to see at least.
Yeah, I look at it from a team philosophy. Yes, Dan Campbell and his coaches, it was ride or die. Like, this is how we do it, and this is how the Lions do it. It was almost this badge of honor that Dan Campbell had bestowed upon this team. It's like, it's going to be our way versus everybody else's way. We're going to win because of who we are and what we do, and I believe in you guys, and you guys can get the job done. I totally understand that, and I'm as a former player, I back it. But sometimes the coach has to save the players from themselves, too. Because as players, we'll always go for it.
Yeah.
I want the ball. Give me the puck. I want to play. Let's go. Give me the opportunity. That's why you're there. It's because throughout your whole life, you have excelled in those situations, or you've wanted to be that individual. I think from a mathematical standpoint, and I mean by score on the board, time on the clock, possessions left, all of that stuff, I think if he kicks the first field goal, it puts a lot of pressure on the 49ers to not just execute, but to be almost perfect at that point. And that's where I feel like the one time probably should have taken the 3 points. The second, fourth down one, I didn't have a problem with that. I mean, I understand what he's trying to do at that point. So for me, it's sometimes the coach has to take off the cape and just sit there and play the odds in what's actually maybe mathematically better for his team. And I felt like, and I'm a Dan Campbell guy.
Yeah.
I just felt like that moment needed the 3 points.
Maybe we'll get into this later, but do you think that they were aggressive because this is their shot? Like next year, who knows what happens, right? You have the Packers who have Jordan Love. They're making, a resurgence with him, and maybe they continue to build off of this season. Maybe they're the front runners next year. Ben Johnson, he's going to be a head coach.
Yeah.
That offense might look different next year. Jared Goff getting older. Mm-hmm. Do you think he was aggressive because this was that shot? Is this the farthest that they can get?
I understand. I totally understand the question. If he's thinking about that, I think that would be a crucial mistake. And that would be something that you would say, okay, why are you not thinking about how to win this game? Mm-hmm. What are the probabilities? What do you do? How do you put your players in the best position to win this game? You have no idea. Jordan Love can snap his Achilles tendon in week 1, next year, and the Packers could be done. You have no idea. How do you win this game? And they thought, to Carey's point, they thought the best way would be continue to be aggressive, and the players just didn't make the plays.
See, I wouldn't have had a problem with him going for it on fourth down before halftime. He kicked the field goal, though. Mm-hmm. He went up by 17. They decided to go kick the field goal, go up by 17.
Why is the right play?
Because that's the right decision.
But why is it right there and not later on?
Because later on, again,
and it wasn't much later on.
If he would have gone for it, and didn't get it, we would be questioning that. But he kicked it. Or if he would have gone for it and made it, at the end of the day, the players have to make plays. I can't play the game for you.
The kicker's a player.
He is. Most people would say no, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Depending on who you ask.
Let him do his damn job.
A lot of people.
Put the damn points on the board.
Kickers in Green Bay, you think they think he's a person right now? Probably not.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see. It's a couple kickers.
Buffalo.
Kicker in Buffalo.
Still a
you think
person.
Tyler Bass? You would get? Yeah. You think? If he's on the side of the road and stuck there, you think people in Buffalo are just going to stop by and help him? They might keep driving.
Here's the thing. Me and Chiefs
drive over him.
Exactly.
Me and Chiefs Kingdom, we don't have to worry about it. We got Harrison Buck. We got one of the best.
Reynolds was probably watching, game film at
Get ready, 2
halftime.
weeks of this, Jamie.
Watching Chiefs game film, preparing for the Super Bowl. Unfortunately for him, he was watching game tape of Kadarius Toney from that game that they played earlier in the season, dropping the ball.
He just didn't have a good game, man. He had a couple of bad drops. Third down and 8, and you got the first down.
Yeah.
It's a bad drop. That game was tied at 24 at that point.
That one was worse than the fourth down, in my opinion.
Because that one, but it's in his head. At that point, he's thinking about it, and he did make a catch later, but at that time, that was a terrible drop. It's just players, that keeps that drive alive if he makes that catch. San Francisco goes down, I believe, and they scored either a touchdown or a field goal at that point. It's just players having to make plays. At the end of the day, I won't give that much credit or that much blame to a coach, because at the end of the day, if they got beat by 45 and were completely outmanned and unprepared, coach, you stunk that one up. But to lose in the manner in which they did, where you're up and guys don't make plays to keep you with that lead, I lean and say the players didn't get the job done.
All right, so speaking of not getting the job done, the Ravens didn't either. We will take a look at this 49ers Chiefs, kind of some early impressions of the Super Bowl, but how much criticism does Lamar face now? The team didn't show up. Defense did in the second half. The team overall didn't. Zay Flowers made a bunch of mistakes. But Lamar, unfortunately, again, this is another playoff loss in his first in the AFC Championship game. We all look at the quarterback. So how much blame goes to Lamar? We'll talk about it next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are now winners of 5 straight games with a 4-3 overtime victory yesterday against the LA Kings. Braden Shen with the game winner. The Blues are looking for that 6th win in a row, and they'll go up against the Blue Jackets tomorrow night. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7, and you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Super Bowl 58 is set as the Kansas City Chiefs will take on the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to dive into yesterday's AFC Championship game as the Ravens, who were the 1 seed in the AFC, will be going home. How much should we put blame on Lamar Jackson? We'll talk about that next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. The Ravens lose yesterday 17-10. Lamar Jackson statistically threw for 272, 7.4 yards per attempt, had 1 touchdown, 1 really bad pick. Also led the team in rushing with 54 yards and threw a pass to himself. There were times where Lamar was brilliant.
One of his best passes.
It was. There were times.
Not nice.
No. There were times where Lamar was brilliant, and there were times where Lamar was not, let's be honest, he wasn't Patrick Mahomes. And if you're going to beat Patrick Mahomes, you're going to have to be the one that's perfect. Joe Burrow has beaten Patrick Mahomes on that stage, and he was damn near perfect. Tom Brady beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and lucky for him, Kansas City didn't have an offensive line.
Yep.
Or else Mahomes probably beats him.
Yeah.
But if you're going to beat Mahomes, you're going to have to be absolutely perfect throughout the game. And Lamar I had an okay game. I didn't feel like there was a lot of adjustments on Todd Monken's part, the OC. And I also didn't think that Lamar saw what Kansas City was doing and attacked it appropriately either. I think it's a two-way street with that.
I think what I saw from the Ravens offense is what we were talking about earlier in the season, where's the explosive plays? Where are the big plays? You had the first drive where they threw the ball. Again, Nelson Aguilar didn't catch it, hit him right in the hands. Probably pick up the first down, probably extend that drive.
Boy, who, by the way, who had Josh Reynolds and Nelson Aguilar dropping passes, but Marquez Valdez catching one backwards. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was a hell of a play. But there was I think Lamar, he didn't play well. But again, there were everything around him wasn't great either. I mean, the play calling, I think you run a lot of play action passes or the illusion of a play action pass where you're painting what we call paint, give him an illusion of a play action pass. But it's not doing anything to the linebackers because you're not actually running the football. It's not helping or aiding in the way you want it to because you are not running the ball downhill. You're not doing those things. And so to do that and continue to throw the ball deep, they threw, you all didn't see, there was 3 passes they threw to the sideline, to the left, after a play-action fake, and it's not a good play. It's just a guy running a 9 route. I don't think there was any double move. There was, the DB was running step for step with the wide receiver, and it ends up throwing the ball over his head or throwing it out of bounds.
Yeah, multiple
times. There were 3 or 4 of those passes. What are you gaining from that? There wasn't anything that I saw that said, yeah, that's the look you want to have. No. So the routes that were open, Mark Andrews over the middle, Zay Flowers over the middle, passes that get the ball out in front of him, allow his players to run and catch and run and make something happen. It just didn't, for me, watching that game, it just looked very sluggish from the Baltimore Ravens aspect offensively.
I just felt like the entire game, Lamar looked off balance. Whatever the Chiefs were doing schematically, you said, they're blitzing in a whole bunch or whatever.
Yeah.
Watching Lamar play all season long and then watching him play yesterday, And, Carey, you know you've had this feeling before. Like, I've talked about me being on the ice and feeling like there's 10 guys on the ice for the opposition. There are only 5, but it feels like there's 10. You can't find an open guy. You're under pressure the whole time. You're giving the puck away. You're under... And in football, I don't know what the comparable would be, but to me,
13.
To me, it looked like Lamar. It's
Sam
like
Darnold seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, yeah. It's like the Chiefs had an extra guy or two on defense, and Lamar couldn't figure it out. And as the game went on, you know, and I always pay attention to body language and guys' reactions. As the game went on, watching every time they panned over to Lamar, even on the sidelines, you could tell like he was uneasy. He was trying to process what was going on, how to figure it out, how to fix it, how to play better. And it felt like quicksand for him a little bit. The harder he tried to get out of it, the worse it got for him. He sunk even deeper. And at one point, it just felt like the Chiefs had just figured it out. And I know it wasn't a landslide victory, but it didn't look pretty at all. So that's, to me, the Chiefs did a very good job of keeping Lamar Jackson, who is probably going to be the MVP of the season this year, keeping him uneasy and playing the way he hadn't played all year.
So what now for him?
I don't know.
That's the question, right? Because Patrick Mahomes, when you watch him, you see somebody that takes what Andy Reid does from a play calling standpoint, and he elevates it. Drew Brees used to do that with Sean Payton's offense. He needed Sean Payton's structure. He needed the play calling, but then he elevated it. Tom Brady was his own offense at the end, so him and Josh McDaniels, whatever. But when you see some of these, Joe Montana elevated the West Coast offense under Bill Walsh. I see a very dynamic, excellent player in Lamar Jackson. But yesterday is a prime opportunity. You're home. You're favored. Your defense is just as good as Kansas City's, if not better. They're like 1-2 in all the statistical categories. So let's just say they're even. You've got big players. You had your tight end back. Isaiah Likely could, if Mark Andrews was going to be hobbled, you could have played with Isaiah Likely just like you did in the past. You had the best team from the second half on, but he didn't elevate the offense. He played fine, but 10 points it's not going to get it done. Zay Flowers fumble or not. So what is now next that's going to get Lamar over that hump?
I don't know. You're stuck with him.
And good,
I don't
right?
mean that in a bad way. I shouldn't say that. Like, let me take that back. You still have one of the best players in the league.
Yes.
Okay. To your point, how do you get to the next level? How does he get past that? I don't know.
I don't think it's adding another player.
No, but the CD, like, you walk us through right now the process of this, where Lamar Jackson was so dominant, and then again, in the face of adversity in the playoffs, in particular for him, he's unsuccessful.
I think it's Patrick Mahomes and it's the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is a team that I said earlier, they've done this. They've experienced this. The high-pressure moment of playing in a game that takes you to the Super Bowl. This is their 6th time playing in that game, his 6th time. He's been to 4 Super Bowls. This is going to be his 4th. He's very familiar with all of that's a different level of stress, strain, uncomfortableness in that moment of, man, we got to win this to go to put my name in the names of all of the other people. And I think that's all that was. They didn't play a good game. Baltimore didn't. There were some things that when I'm watching Lamar play yesterday, it was a sack he took on 3rd and 1. You as a quarterback have to know, we're going to go for this on 4th down, throw it away. And so you got sacked, and now it's 4th and 3. They picked it up, but just the awareness of understanding down and distance, where I'm at on the field, what this moment is in this game, I think he was so enamored with trying to make the big play, and I think that goes for all of them. We're trying to make the big play instead of allowing the big play to happen, and where Kansas City is like, man, we don't have to it's going to happen. It's going to come. I'm going to throw this ball to Travis Kelce. We're going to get a big play eventually.
You're right.
And they got the big play late in the game. They threw it to Valdez-Scantling. He made a play. So for me, when you're watching the Ravens, it's like the moment was too much on that team because they're trying to force something to happen as opposed to just letting it happen.
2 quick questions regarding this, Carey. Dan Orlovsky said this morning at one point that he felt like Lamar Jackson just had trouble processing what the Chiefs were throwing at him, that he wasn't processing it fast enough.
Yeah.
So to me, that comes down to what you just said. Maybe going for the bigger, better play, it's not there. All of a sudden, it's panic time. Instead of being able to process, hey, it's not there. There's my side pass over here, take 2 yards, we live to fight another day.
You get impatient.
You get a little uptight, a little impatient. Second part of this is the next step for Lamar getting him a legit running back? Like, what if they had a real running game?
They keep getting guys hurt.
Yeah.
Them guys, they tear their ACL, they tear their Achilles.
Okay, so then let me add.
The fact that Dalvin Cook didn't play, and he is a veteran, both running the ball and pass pro and catching the ball out of the backfield, that's troubling to me. Because after the second time I see Justice Hill get ran over or get sat down or get run through, and he's not protecting the quarterback, hey, man, what the hell are you doing? Dalvin, let's go. I need a veteran that I can plug in and say, I wouldn't care if it was Patrick Ricard, the fullback. Somebody go block the damn linebacker and get him off of the quarterback. But it didn't happen. And so, for me, it felt like they all were pressing and just not able to make plays.
Do you think this team needed to lose, though, in order to find what they need for next season? Because I believe that failure does breed success. You look at Mahomes, they lost to the Patriots, right, in the AFC Championship game.
I think they'll be back. I do think they'll be back.
They got a good team.
I don't think they're one and done. I don't think this is a season where you say,
it's tougher conference next year.
Joe
Burrow will be
this
back.
Year.
Jim Harbaugh will be coaching the Chargers. There'll be a lot more opponents this next year.
Good call.
Yeah, they said the same thing this year.
But, this is something that I've been saying this now for weeks as we talk about the Cardinals. Why do you win? Why do you lose? So, Marsh, your question, do you know why you lost yesterday? Are you honed in on, it wasn't our time?
The moment was too big.
Or do you realize, Carey, I thought you brought a great point up about being patient. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs are patient. Like, they're aggressive when they need to be aggressive, but they're patient. Champions are patient. Tom Brady, talk about taking the profits. 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 17 yards up the field. Now, all of a sudden, I'm down. Mm-hmm. Will Lamar do that? Will he be patient? Will he figure that out? Will John Harbaugh and the coaching staff say, hey, let's look at what the Chiefs do, details matter, and emulate that so that we can get over the hump?
It reminded me of the national championship game with Michael Penix Jr. Mm-hmm. It felt like they were just trying that deep ball because that was their team, right? Yeah. But when that did not work, they did not adjust.
That's a good point.
And they didn't have a running game either, and that's why they lost. And I feel like there's some similarities to that from the AFC Championship game.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You got to be patient, and again, details matter. Reacher taught us that, Marsh.
He does.
Details in any investigation matter,
and you could get killed for it if you don't have them.
Yeah. Reacher now streaming on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's got
Marsh and I
fingers dipped in the cookie
you know
jar.
What?
He's a Chiefs fan. Now he's a Reacher promoter.
Yeah. And assumptions kill, Anthony.
Definitely. A lot of times the bad guys.
Yep.
Especially when Reacher's on the prowl, Jamie.
Yeah.
You'll
be careful.
You'll find out. Can this version of the Blues make some noise in the playoffs if they make it? That's next on 101 ESPN. Went down to the Missouri Athletic Club earlier today. I love heading down there. It's West Clubhouse typically. Not that I don't mind going to the downtown spot, but when I go downtown, a lot of times, Jamie just went to the Blues Hall of Fame dinner. Loved that. Any event that they have downtown, it's always perfect. But when it comes to the West Clubhouse, I get my workout in. I can not only work out there, but get dressed, changed, ready to go, ready to attack the day. Use their business center to prep for the show, grab something to eat. It's kind of like the one-stop shop for everything, and I love weaving it in to my daily routine. It's the Missouri Athletic Club, Miami C. Fastlane on 101 ESPN. The Blues have won 5 straight games, and we've been talking a little bit today about the differences between what we're seeing now and what we've seen for most of the year, which has been inconsistency. But
hey, it's true.
Thanks, Carey.
I didn't say he was wrong. I just didn't like hearing it.
Truth hurts.
It does, Anthony. A lot of things hurt. Truth being one of them.
Especially Marsh, when Reacher's on the case. You know what I mean?
Oh, my goodness. I don't even know what this series is.
This guy is massive.
He's massive, and he just likes to put a hurting on people.
All right.
You know what I mean, Jamie?
Yeah. I kind of get the gist.
He's actually breaking kneecaps.
He is. Yeah. Consistently.
Dan Campbell?
Consistently.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Yeah.
he as
Only
big
he's
as
doing
Dan Campbell?
bigger.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's
The
setting
size of
buildings
that
on
mutant?
fire.
Dan Campbell is like a head taller than everybody on the field yesterday.
As he's on our screen, too.
As he's side to side on the TV right now.
Can this version, this one that we've been seeing, can this one make noise in the playoffs if they were to make the playoffs, or should we pump the brakes?
Well, okay, so that's a polar opposite question. Can this team win, or should we just stop believing?
Just answer the question, Jamie.
I'm going to try my best.
The reason being, because you know how Blues fans are right now. You know where their mind is going right now.
I think Blues fans are fine right now. I really do.
No, I agree.
I think that they're way different than Cardinals fans.
No, yeah, definitely. But their mind is going back to 2019. Like, that's where the mind. So tell us.
Well, let's not do that.
Okay.
let's pump the brakes on 2019.
Okay, because that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
You know, last time in January we had a streak like that. You know how that went.
That
Changed
team,
the coach. I see some similarities here, Jamie.
Yeah, that's about it. No, I'm not even being negative or disrespectful, but look at the decor then. You had Alex Pietrangelo, who could arguably be a Hall of Famer one day. You had Jay Bouwmeester, who could be a Hall of Famer one day. You had Colton Parayko, who's now a monster, a minute muncher now, and he was that year. Like, you had a lot of things going for you. You had Ryan O'Reilly, Vladimir Tarasenko. Like, you had some guys, as they say. But I do think that what the Blues are doing is they're building something positive right now. And look, we go back to last season. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun for the players. It wasn't fun for the organization. The fan base was upset. You just had grown accustomed to being a competitive team. I don't think you say winning, just competitive team. And it wasn't competitive for the most part last year. Mm-hmm. And so I think even under Craig Berube this year, the team showed a little more compete. And then it just hit the end of the road. For whatever reason, it wasn't working anymore. And Doug Armstrong made a decision. And since that decision's been made, the team, it hasn't been perfect, but they've played a more complete game. They're competing now for 60 minutes. Braden Shen talked about the other night how they just don't feel like they're ever out of a game now. And they understand, how hard they have to defend and how hard they have to compete night in and night out. Losing a coach sometimes is a bit of a wake-up call for the team. It should have been, and it was. And I think right now the Blues are sitting tied with the LA Kings at 54 points in the wild card spot, which is great. It's what you want. You win against the Blue Jackets tomorrow night, puts you at 56 points. You'll be in first or second spot for the wild card ranking. Mm-hmm. And you'll have a little cushion behind you as the Predators, as you still have a game in hand on the Predators, and they're 1 point behind you. So the Blues are in a good position. Should we sit here and go, hey, you never know? I mean, hockey is a sport where you just never know. 8th place teams or teams that have finished the last one in the conference to get into the playoffs have won the Stanley Cup before. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I'll say is that if this team gets to the playoffs and they're relatively healthy and they have a guy named Jordan Binnington, they have a chance to do something that is probably unexpected. Is that 1 round? Is it 2 rounds? Yeah, I don't know. But I believe that this team can be competitive.
Any way that they don't not only get in a wild card, but actually get a 3 seed, 2 seed? No way.
They're too far behind.
Too far behind?
Well, you're looking right now, they're at 54 points. The Winnipeg Jets are at 65.
Yeah.
And the Jets have a game in hand.
Stumble.
What if they win 30 in a row?
Well, then that certainly helps their chances, Anthony.
Just saying.
So just to put it in perspective, the Jets are 30-12-5 is their record. The Blues are 26-20-2. It's a big difference. Yeah. And I don't think you need
Ain't
to
no
set
hill for a climber, though.
No, but I don't think you need to set your sights on worrying about that too much. Basically put yourself in the first wild card spot. Keep creating distance between everybody beneath you.
Yeah.
It's fun to chase the three teams ahead of you, of course. I mean, that's the goal.
Right.
But I don't think that's the ultimate prize. For me, it's getting into the playoffs. Because when you look at the conference overall, they've beaten the Avalanche, they've beaten the Stars, they haven't beaten the Jets yet, but they've beaten the Canucks. They always play the Golden Knights very well. Like, there's some teams that are ahead of you that you're like, hey, you know what? I'm not that worried. Mm-hmm. Like in a 7-game series, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not about finishing in the top 3. It's about just solidifying yourself as a playoff team.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Carey, Jamie, Anthony, Marsh. Let's take a look at the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl matchup. Early look. 49ers Chiefs.
Your Chiefs.
My Chiefs.
Come on, man.
The funny thing is, nobody wants Anthony on their bandwagon. The text line's blowing up.
Would you please stop saying your Chiefs?
Look, I think
I dare you to show up in a Chiefs t-shirt tomorrow.
Here's the deal. Again, people may say something, but you have to understand the tone behind it. And listen, I hear you, Chiefs Kingdom. I'm with you. It's you and me, ride or die.
Anthony, you have the right to you got to fight for your right to party.
You're darn right.
Enough.
Yeah, and you're fighting, baby.
That's exactly right, Marsh. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Chiefs 49ers, early look. I think it should be obvious who's going to win this one. That's next on 101 ESPN.
All right, this message is for you, home sellers. If you need a reliable, experienced, and trusted agent, take it from me and give Gloria Liu with your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty a call. And here's why. Gloria, her name is everything, and she promises you that she will sell your home. She's got the guaranteed sales, and Gloria, for that matter, has mastered the art of selling your home, and she promises you to sell your home for the agreed-upon price, or she buys it herself, and she guarantees all of that for you in handwriting. And the reason she's so confident about that is because she's got a database with thousands of ready, willing, and able buyers that sends way more traffic to your listing, creates that higher demand that you're looking for, maybe multiple offers. You never know. That's kind of what's going on these days. And that means more money for you in your pocket, and that's all Gloria Liu cares about, is making sure that you get what you deserve and that you're taken care of. So please call Gloria Liu. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you in. Her number is 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree upon the sales price as well as a possession date.
5:04, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Early look at the Super Bowl matchup. Here's my take.
What do you got?
I see that the Niners are laying 1.5. It was 2.5. It's a mistake.
Okay.
Odds makers don't make mistakes, but it does happen, I don't know, 2% of the time. This is one of those 2%. They should not be favored. The Kansas City Chiefs should be favored.
Why?
Patrick Mahomes.
That's it. Nothing else needs to be said.
Brock Purdy.
You can drop the mic.
That's it. We got an hour left, so I'm going to keep talking.
Okay.
Carey. I know some of you don't want me to, but I'm going to do it. Carey.
Yes, sir.
Brock Purdy has played maybe one half of good football.
In the playoffs?
3/4.
This playoffs?
This playoffs. 3/4 of good football.
Is it that much?
One half and a drive of good football.
There you go.
He had one good drive against Green Bay. He had one good half yesterday. You cannot get away with playing suboptimal football if you're the quarterback opposite of Patrick Mahomes.
No, you shouldn't. It's not going to work out well for you.
And Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to carve up San Francisco's defense, who did not play well again. We could talk about the Lions and Campbell's decisions and Josh Reynolds dropping the ball and all this. Let's not overlook the fact that San Francisco again played poorly defensively.
Yeah.
They got run on. They allowed plays in the secondary.
They really got, to the tune of 182 yards. It was bad.
I'll probably step in this, but did Goff even get sacked?
I think once.
Once with that D-line. That's it.
One time.
Let's see, your sacks, 2. Some other got 2. It was Bosa twice.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because he's really all they have from a pass rush standpoint. This San Francisco defense is not anything to write home about. Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to hang 27+ on that defense, if not 30+.
I could see that. My question would be to you, how? Other than Travis Kelce. I know Rashee Rice,
Isaiah Pacheco.
They ran so many
Valdez-Scantling.
screens. They ran so many screens yesterday. The Chiefs did, really a tunnel screen to the receiver at the line of scrimmage, and Baltimore didn't come up and make tackles. They didn't adjust to it. You got to get that guy on the ground. He can't catch a ball at the line of scrimmage and then turn it into an 8-yard gain or a 12-yard gain. That's how they made they threw a bunch of them to Kelce. They threw some of them to Rashee Rice. They made a lot of plays that way. If you limit that from the Kansas City Chiefs, because we know right now their best offensive player is Travis Kelce, Marquez Valdez-Scantling caught a big pass, and maybe the confidence is coming. I still wouldn't trust it. Not to be a part of the actual game plan where you're forced to throw him dig routes or comebacks or curl routes
just two passes deep.
Routes.
That's it. That's all he needs.
Well,
you hope he catches one of them.
If you shut that down, which should be shut down, I think you make it a little bit more difficult for the Chiefs to have success. I'm still going with the Chiefs.
Carey, we saw, Jamie, you hang tight, okay? I'm talking Chiefs. I'm passionate about this. Carey.
All day long.
We saw Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson absolutely own Steve Wilkes.
I agree.
Own him. You don't think Andy Reid's going to do the same thing?
Probably.
Thank you.
Andy Reid doesn't have a running game.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Are you kidding me?
No, he doesn't. Why?
He stuck with the run yesterday.
Barely.
26 carries for Pacheco, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it like something like that?
So here's
24.
Here's my bigger question to you guys. Is obviously Patrick Mahomes, that's the cheat code for the Chiefs.
Correct.
Bottom line. Where do we, can the Chiefs score and keep pace with the Niners?
Yes. And what happens when the Chiefs get a lead? Because the 49ers aren't going to do 3 comebacks in a row.
They have been down twice.
Right now,
exactly.
You're just fawning over the Chiefs right now. It is blurring your overall perspective on football, though.
It's because he's sitting in BK's chair.
He totally.
I've sat in this chair for a long time.
It's like BK's inside of you right now.
No, I don't know.
You know, Anthony.
It's like Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
No.
He's controlling your emotions.
I don't know.
That's what I meant. Okay? So, when I think about the 49ers, I look at the last couple of games, and I have confidence in Brock Purdy. A couple reasons. Hear me out. And I know he's the game manager and all that. Okay.
He stunk the last 2 weeks.
Quiet. I said, hear me out. That means quiet. So, the last 2 games, what did he manage to do? He put together a set of downs at the end of a game to go win a football game. That's what he did 2 games ago. Last game, he was nowhere to be found in the first half. And the second half, what did he do? He put points up on the board for his team, so much so that even at one point, he ended up on the day, guys, 3 yards short of the same amount of rushing yards as Lamar Jackson. That's Brock Purdy, who's not supposed to be doing that stuff.
That's on the Detroit Lions.
Okay, but fine, hang it up. But there's always an excuse, is what I'm saying. There's always a reason that Brock Purdy's successful, and it's never crediting him. And I'm looking at this guy right now who's done nothing but win since he's been a 49er, and he's Mr. Irrelevant. He's not supposed to be doing it. You see him walking down the street, you want a guy to balance your checkbook. He looks like an accountant. I want to hand him the ball in the Super Bowl, but here we are.
That's drink.
Well, either way.
I already got my guy.
No, did you see Brock Purdy leaving the stadium the other day? He looked like a Boy Scout. Just like, beep, 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 beep. I'm like, okay, he's going to the Super Bowl, this guy. Really? So I don't know. I look at it from a couple different perspectives. A lot of people just have this, or just give it to the Chiefs. And yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes. I understand why you do that. But the 49ers overall, man for man, are a better team on paper. Man for man, they're a better team. And you can't tell me that Kyle Shanahan can't match wits with Andy Reid offensively.
He doesn't have to. He's going to have to match wits with Steve Spagnuolo, the best defensive coordinator in the league.
It pains me.
Who held Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to 10 points yesterday.
Anthony.
We'll see.
We will see.
We'll see. I was about to say something. I already know the answer.
You going for the Niners?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm all in.
Do you guys like this Super Bowl matchup?
You're going to have a bad day 2 weeks from now.
My wallet, Adam. Take it. Go ahead.
I will, actually. You've been working a lot. So.
I bet you would.
Do you guys like this Super Bowl matchup?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
I think it's going to be close.
A rematch from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I do.
I think it's going to be a good game.
I can't wait for Mr. Irrelevant to be the MVP.
Cool.
He won't.
That'd be nice.
He won't be.
That's the easy way out. He won't.
No, he won't, Jamie. Listen, you were outside when we started this segment, so you didn't hear me say, and this is a fact.
You were gone last week. You were outside. It's always when I'm not here.
Well, show up every once in a while. Brock Purdy.
You have to look to find me, Anthony.
I'm right here. Brock Purdy, Jamie, has played one half and a drive of good football in the postseason.
Yeah, and has he won 2 games? He's a winner.
Yeah.
He's a winner.
So is Mahomes.
Anthony. If he would have had another arm last year, they would have won the Super Bowl last year.
Well, that was last year. This year,
you disgust me.
Different story.
Are you two done?
Tell him.
Probably not. It'll be going on all week.
What do you want me to tell him?
Tell him who's going to win.
I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to win because Anthony's track record is terrible.
Marciabo will tell you this. He picked the right side this time. Finally.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Ravens
Hold
over
on,
here.
Carey. You and I have been going down in flames here together.
We did.
I don't know why you just all of a sudden Carey's like, yeah, this guy sucks.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, he's been terrible with his picks. Meanwhile, you're the Ravens.
By the way, we got to bet the board at the end of the show.
Let's see who's in
Carey and I are tied.
For last.
No, it's me. Okay. All right, it's a fast lane on 101 at ESPN. What the hell you guys want to talk about next? You guys want to go back to the Cardinals, Blues, stick with football?
We don't need to do the Cardinals.
Let's just anything but the Chiefs, okay?
Why? What do you got in the Blues? You want to do dealer's choice? Blues?
Yeah, let's do some
Blues. All right, we'll talk about some Blues here. Jamie's going to tell us all why. I don't know, he'll think of something in the break.
Number 3 seed.
No, Carey.
It's 2019 all over again.
No.
Who's been the most important players in this 5-game winning streak? Jamie will rank them 1 through 1 through 92. 1 through 92 in the organization.
23.
Next on 101 ESPN. Jamie, one of the things that we love about our guy Stewie is that he always reaches out and he says, hey, want to talk about some things that are upcoming that your listeners are going to want to know. So, Stewie, as we know, tomorrow and Wednesday are important days for us. Why?
Anthony, the Federal Reserve is meeting, and they're going to discuss all the financial things about whether or not interest rates, they're going to cut them, they're going to keep them the same, raise them, what's going to happen. Now, recent reports on the economy show strength. That's an indication that the Federal Reserve may not cut them as quick as they want them to. At the same time, inflation is dropping. That's an indication they should cut it. So we're in a situation where we have both reports going one way or another. Who knows what the Federal Reserve will do, but what's important is what they're going to say. Keep your ears open. Listen to see whether or not they say, you know what, we may cut rates. We may be ready to cut rates if we see the economy starting to shorten down. That's what you got to look at. If that happens, bam, lock in the rate as soon as you can. Get the lower rates because they will drop. If they say they're going to hesitate, rates may go up a little bit. So keep your ears and eyes open to what's going to happen and make your right decisions.
You knew that, right, Anthony?
No,
you
thankfully
didn't.
That's Stewie.
You had no idea.
Nope.
This is why we have Stewie on speed dial, is because he's got the answers to whatever it is you're looking for, and it's that old school customer service. You call Stewie or text Stewie. He's going to find out how to help you no matter which way he possibly can. He has great programs available. If not, he might even just think of one that now helps you save money or help you in your financial situation. So pick up the phone, call or text 314-324-4440.
Again, the number is 314-324-4440.
If you can't remember that, Anthony, what can you do?
You can always Google the bagel loan. Thanks, Stewie.
NMLS number 226715.
Congratulations to Aubrey Lamke from Maryland Heights. She was just named this week's 101 ESPN Blues Fan of the Week.
Submit your pick now at 101ESPN.com to be the next Fan of the Week. Taking home Blues tickets and a $50 Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. 101 ESPN's Blues Fan of the Week is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, official member of This Bar Bleeds Blue, presented by Bud Light.
So during this 5-game winning streak, who has been the key components for you, Jamie? There's been some obvious ones, guys that obviously find in the back of the net. They help. Jordan Biddington's been great. But
why don't you just go ahead and name them all then, Anthony? He asked me and then goes ahead and names them, Carey. Go ahead.
Besides Pavel Buchnevich, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou,
Jake Neighbors.
Brandon Saad, Braden Shen, the captain.
Kevin Hayes.
Oscar Sundquist. Don't forget about Sonny.
Sam Clay, Nikita Alexandrov.
Yeah.
Don't forget Nathan Walker.
Well, you got your blue liners, too, guys. You got your Torrey Krugs.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you give that?
Hey, what? Carey's just having a good time. I don't know.
Okay. So, yeah, out of all the roster,
that's a
the
great
whole roster.
segment, guys.
Yeah.
Bet the board coming up next.
All right. No, we've still got a lot to go here.
You just named half the team.
I think he named like 3/4 of the team.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That means there's a fourth left. Yeah, so out of those guys.
Yeah.
Most important.
Right. Okay, so in all seriousness, it starts from the net out. Jordan Binnington has been incredible this entire month. December was a bit of a down month, but if you remember, he got a lot of work in December. And talking to the coaching staff, they said that, Joel Hofer was still adjusting a little bit to everyday NHL, and they were looking to scale him back a little bit, so Binner got a little extra work. And if you remember that crazy schedule that we had, we were all over North America in the month of December. It was grueling. It was tough. But since the new year has turned, Jordan Binnington's been lights out. I mean, fantastic in between the pipes. And Joel Hofer has played very well at the same time. So I think for me, the goaltending, we'll call that goaltending, that's been the beginning of it. If you don't get good goaltending, you're screwed. Bottom line. And then when you expand that now to the blue line, Nick Leddy and Colton Parayko are playing fantastic. I think Nick Leddy gets overlooked a lot of times because he's just quiet, but he's smooth. Like, he skates so well out there. I'm watching him at ice level, and you're watching him, and it's just almost effortlessly as he just pulls away from guys, and he's barely even breathing hard. You're like, man, that must be nice. And it is. But you pair him up with Colton Parayko, who for a couple of years now, as I've called him, the one-man breakout, because 2 strides, he's out of the zone. And you're gone, you're off to the races. So those two as a pairing have been really good. They've been steady. They've been solid. They've been paired up against the other team's top lines, night in, night out. They're great on the penalty kill. They're adding some offense. Nick Leddy with a goal the other night. We know Colton Parayko has stepped up offensively this year. So for me, those two guys right there on the blue line have been everything for this team. If you want to go, dive in deeper or peel back some more layers on the defensive core, Matthew Kessel stepping up the way he has been huge for this team. Marco Scandella, who sat out for a couple of games and the team lost, 3 in a row. And Drew Bannister said, I don't know if there's anything to this, but we're going to put this Scandella guy back in the lineup, and they've rattled off 5 in a row. And I'm not saying he's the only reason that they've won 5 in a row, but he's a part of it.
Yeah.
And he's been a real calming partner for guys like Perunovich, guys like Matthew Kessel, whoever he's been paired with, it seems to have been working very well.
Yeah.
And Torrey Krug, you know what, the offensive numbers aren't there, but he's playing a bigger role overall for this team, and him and Matthew Kessel have been very good together. So you can't overlook that, because I know people that there's a lot of people that are on one side of the fence or the other with Torrey Krug, and I think it's based upon just flat-out offensive numbers, because this is supposed to be the guy. Well, the power play overall is playing better right now, and Torrey Krug's playing a pretty good all-around game for your team right now, and you need him. So working our way up from there before we get to the big guys, because it's pretty easy to say Thomas, Kyrou, and Buchnevich, but Buchnevich and Kyrou kind of had hot and cold patches there for a little bit, and Robert Thomas kept producing, with some assists and making plays, and Robert Thomas has turned into one of the best two-way hockey players in the NHL. He's right up there now. His score and his stats and everything that you want to talk about for an all-around player, it matches up against some of the best in the NHL right now. So it does beg the question at some point, does somebody really start to pound the drum for the Selke Trophy for Robert Thomas? Like the other night, he's playing against the other team's top line every time. And it's not because they're matching up against him. Drew Bannister has Robert Thomas's line matched up against the other team's top line.
Yeah.
Last change, Thomas, you're going out there. You have the tough assignment. And he's been handling it very well, and they've been winning games. So you have to look at that. But for me, I think that this team, really their identity comes down to their captain. And Braden Shen has been really, really good here in the last 9 games. Played very well. I think 5 goals, 4 assists in the last 9 games. He shows up every game physically. He sets the tone with the way he plays. And right now, that line of Saad, Neighbors, and Shen has been fantastic. Jake Neighbors, to your point earlier, Carey, he's playing way above his years. He looks like a veteran guy that's been in the league for 3-4 years now, and this is really only his first full season. Right. So all of those things kind of mixed in together has given you what you have right now, and all your role players that are the sprinkle, the add-ons here and there, the Walkers, the Sonnies, the Hayes, those guys, they've been playing very well. They haven't been costing you games. They've been adding to the energy, adding to the physicality. So right now, this team remains competitive because of the blue-collar attitude, and then you sprinkle in some of that high-end talent that's able to put the puck in the net.
How good can Matthew Kessel be? He's 15 games into his career, but it doesn't look like it. How good can he be?
That's so tough because that position's so difficult to play. And I don't want to sit here and say he could be like a Justin Falk, because Justin Falk, we can't forget that he's put up 40, 50 points in this league before. He's been a power play guy. He's been pretty elite to the point where he's making $6.5 million right now. And, does Matthew Kessel get to that point? I don't know.
Yeah.
The NHL is weird from the standpoint that you could have 20, 25 games of great hockey, and then things just happen. People come back from injury. You don't get the same ice time. You have a hiccup, and then your confidence goes. And then, so I don't want to put a ceiling on him per se, but I think what we're seeing is the real deal. So if we're going to operate in real time, in the now, what I'm seeing is a guy that can play top 4 minutes for you. Is he top 2, top 3? No, but top 4 minutes to where he's playing that 17 to 19 minutes a game. I think he looks pretty damn comfortable doing it. And right now, that's what you take. Because who's the next guy in the pipeline defensively for you? You really don't. You have Callie Rosen, but he's an old guy. And I mean old guy, meaning like he's a veteran guy. It's not like you're developing him anymore.
Yeah.
Tyler Tucker,
but Tyler Tucker, to me, and I'd say this, if he's standing right here, in fact, I've said it, is the physicality has to be more regular. It cannot be sporadic. It cannot be one night against Brady Tkachuk and then you don't see it anymore. Like, it's got to be in your face every single shift, every single time. And this last little conditioning to the American Hockey League may have poked enough to realize, okay, that was nice and all. It's good to see the guys. But
I want to be up here.
I'd rather be up here. So we'll see what version we get.
Does Matthew Kessel remind you of a early Colton Parayko? Maybe not so much like the stature or like his ceiling, but from like a standpoint of coming out of nowhere. Colton Parayko wasn't like a high draft pick by any means.
No, but Kessel was a little more. He didn't just come out of nowhere. He played on a national championship team at UMass.
For sure.
He was highly touted as a defenseman. Colton Parayko did come out of relative obscurity.
He played college hockey in Alaska.
And, one of the Blues scouts had seen him play in I believe it was the Alberta Junior Hockey League at one point, and saw this mountain of a man and was like, nobody's really talking about this guy. Kind of tracked him through to Fairbanks, Alaska, and then the Blues kind of rolled the dice on him a little bit. And he ended up obviously panning out, to say the least. I don't know if I put Matthew Kessel in that category because he was front and center on a national championship team, which makes it hard to hide at that point. So I think from his professional development, going from where he was in Springfield and like nobody really talking about him to where now he's in the top 4 and he's playing every night, I would compare it that way to where he's made that jump very quickly.
Blues go for 6 straight tomorrow night against the Blue Jackets. Pregame starting right here on 101 ESPN at 6 o'clock. We got our biggest question of the day next in the Fast Lane.
Jamie Rivers here, joined by my good friend Tracy Bibb from the Bibb Agency. Tracy, how are we doing today?
We are awesome. How are you doing?
I'm good. Look, we're in the middle of winter here right now. There's been ice storms. There's been good weather, bad weather. If I'm someone out here right now driving around in St. Louis, what are some things I should know about my insurance policies?
A couple of things. One, you should know that probably not everybody has a good insurance policy. And two, you want to make sure that you're not one of those people, and it's a good idea to give us a call and let us look over that. And right now we are also doing a quote for the cause for Be the Match. That is the organization that helped out Layla Anderson. So if you get a quote from us right now, I will be donating to it. Or if you just wanted to go on my Facebook page, you can also donate to the cause. But that is what we're doing, and it's a great time for you to look at your insurance.
Yeah, it is. And Tracy is always helping out in the community. So please, for a free non-committal quote today and to help out, give her a call at 314-328-4260. Again, that number is 314-328-4260. Tracy, thank you so much for everything you do.
Thanks so much. Go Blues.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update. Brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues will look to make it 6 straight wins tomorrow night as they take on the Blue Jackets. They defeated the LA Kings yesterday in overtime, 4-3 the score, thanks to Braden Shen. Once again, the Blues take on the Blue Jackets tomorrow night. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7, and you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. The Super Bowl is set as Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs will take on Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. We talked about the AFC and NFC Championship games earlier today. If you missed any of those conversations, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find it there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
With Super Bowl champion Carey Davis, NHL veteran Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Here is Andrew Marsh with the biggest question of the day.
All right, guys, we talked earlier today about the AFC Championship game, the NFC Championship game. We touched on the Super Bowl at the beginning of this hour, but let's look at the teams that lost. Where do these teams go from here? Do they have a hangover heading into next season? Can they get back to being in this spot next year?
I think the hangover is going to be with the Niners when they lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It's typically what happens. You get well, guys, you laugh with the. I mean, you see it. You see it a lot of time with the Super Bowl hangover for the losers. Eagles, perfect example, right? So I think the actual hangover is going to be with the 49ers. Jamie brought up a really good point, though, about the AFC conference in relation to the Ravens. AFC being tougher this year.
Well, next year will absolutely be tougher. You've got Joe Burrow, that'll be back with the Bengals, which will make them way more competitive. I believe Jim Harbaugh partnered up with Justin Herbert. I believe the Chargers to be a better team next year. Don't know what to expect from the Broncos or the Raiders, for that matter. But I do expect, and look, I don't know what Cleveland's going to have up their sleeve either. I don't know if Joe Flacco's coming back or Deshaun Watson. I don't know who the solution is there. There's a lot of millions and millions of dollars tells me that Deshaun Watson's probably going to be under center next year for the Cleveland Browns. So I just think overall that it's just going to be very competitive in the AFC. It's going to make it more difficult.
Yeah, big time. But I think the Ravens can still, given all their talent, I don't think they're losing a whole lot. At least they're not losing the key components, and they can add too. Keaton Mitchell coming back will be huge for them. I don't know what's left of J.K. Dobbins. I feel horrible for the kid. He's
ACL, Achilles.
Yeah, like how effective you're running back. How effective can you be? But the Ravens can find a capable running back in the middle rounds to complement Lamar Jackson.
Carey's fixated on the pass block.
I don't blame you there.
So bothered.
Yeah.
I'm just watching this. It's
to your point, though, Carey, we all focus on the quarterback, of course. You're right, though. There's many moments in the game where the pass blocking was atrocious in front of Lamar. Yeah. I still think that there should have been something between him and Todd Monken to beat the blitzes that Spags was constantly throwing at them.
Block.
But if they're only rushing 4, block them.
Carey, how's the Ravens blocking game from the backfield? Just out of curiosity.
Not great, man. It's terrible, man. I just showed y'all some, come on. As a running back coach, I would have lost my damn mind.
Guys, here's my opinion of it. It's like blocking shots in hockey. You either are willing to do it because you know it hurts, or you don't. You're not.
That's
willing.
it. There's no
you
glory.
Can't teach it then. You guys have to be willing.
Well, you can teach the technique,
but
if you're playing, the will to do it is another thing. Justice Hill was blocking Justin Reed, and he ran up in there like he was Ray Lewis trying to fill the B gap. But he's not going to try to run you over.
He was blocking.
Air quotes, because it wasn't blocking, man. No. It just,
he was a speed bump.
Basically, on his way to the damn quarterback. Get out the way, little fella. Got places to be. Super Bowl.
You shouldn't be here.
Yeah, so, hopefully, I think the Baltimore Ravens, they had a great season. Probably MVP of the league in Lamar Jackson. They did an outstanding job all year long. They only lost 4 games in the regular season, and really 3 if you take away that last game against the Steelers, which they sat everyone. So they lost 3 games, essentially. And those 3 games, they lost by 3 to the Colts, and I think 2 to the Browns, and then 7 to the Steelers the first time. That's not a lot of points.
All winnable games.
All within the last possession of the game.
They choked the Cleveland game and the Pittsburgh game.
Yes.
Honestly, the Indy game, too.
Yeah. And you exclude the last game.
50-yarders.
Correct. So, and it was, so they are poised to have a really good team going forward, going into next season. Can they stay healthy? Can they rebound from the mistakes that they made and use this as a learning lesson? Because this was a tutorial, what they saw from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's a team that has done it and has had success doing it, and we're not, I don't want to say afraid of the moment, because I don't think the Ravens were, but they weren't in awe of the moment. And I think at times the Ravens were in awe of where they were and what it meant had they won that game.
And I'm looking, as we look at the Lions, since they're the other team that lost, I'm looking at their free agents for next year. There's none that you can't overcome. Josh Reynolds, maybe they say, hey, thanks, but no thanks. We saw your work yesterday. C.J. Gardner-Johnson wound up being a good player for them, so maybe they look to bring him back on a multi-year deal. Vaitai, their guard, is 31. Everybody else, you've got kind of some depth pieces. So, in other words, I think the Lions have every opportunity to win the NFC North again next year. the Packers are going to be competitive. We'll see what the Bears do
Vikings
with the number 1 overall pick. If Kirky Cousins is back for the Vikings, then you're good. And it looks like Brian Flores is going to be the DC again. So, yeah, that's a really tough division. It's the toughest division in the NFC. But the Lions, they know exactly who they are. They're well prepared. They're well coached. They've got more than enough talent on both sides. They got to figure out what to do with the secondary because the secondary was a big issue, but there's always cornerbacks available in every round. I think the Lions with another good draft. They had a great draft last year. Carey, you and I didn't think so originally, but they
turned out pretty good.
They proved
pretty damn good.
They proved they know what they're doing. Brad Holmes knows what he's doing. So, I think the Lions are more than capable of making another run next year. Like, I don't see the window closing for either of these teams, the Ravens or the Lions.
Well, for the Lions, how important is the offensive coordinator there? Like, how important is that?
That's a great question.
Yes.
That's going to be their biggest question.
Because
really.
Jared Goff and that offense, it feels like Ben Johnson's unlocked something. Like, Dan Campbell can say whatever he wants about having confidence and faith in Jared Goff, and I knew he's going to be my guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He was an offensive guy when he played. I get it. But he wasn't the offensive coordinator.
Right. It's going to be a big hire for them this offseason.
It's going to be huge.
Who they bring in.
And will they mesh well with Jared Goff?
To try to lead this offense.
Yeah.
It will be a different offense, maybe different terminology unless you promote from within and you try to keep, the core principles of the offense the same. But if you get a new offensive coordinator and from outside of the organization, they generally want to call it what they call it. And then you'll spend the whole offseason trying to learn a new offense. So, it could be problematic for the Detroit Lions. Oh no, not learning those offensive terminology.
But if you hire Dan Campbell, he's got to make the wise decisions on the coordinators, and he did. Mm-hmm. So you got to trust that he's the CEO. He's going to make another good hire. I don't think that Aaron Glenn.
Is Aaron Glenn going? I was going to ask.
I think Aaron Glenn's going to be
Seattle.
Maybe.
Maybe that's who they were waiting on.
I think Washington was definitely waiting on Ben Johnson. You're right. Maybe Seattle was waiting on
Aaron Glenn.
So Mike Vrabel, like we talked about Belichick, Mike Vrabel doesn't get a head coach?
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't get a job, I mean?
I don't think so.
He must not. He must not interview well. He must be one of those guys where it's like, take it or leave it. This is who I am.
Yeah.
And a lot of these owners are like, I'll leave it. Thank you. Right? I mean, he probably has got a little, he's junior Bill Belichick, where he sits across from me. He's like, listen.
You know me.
You know me.
You know what I do.
You know you want. If you want this, call me. And they're like, we don't want it. We want to be wine and dine, man. All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. That's your biggest question of the day. We've got Bet the Board, 3 stars, criticisms, compliments next on 101 ESPN. One of the things that I love about Auto Centers Nissan is that even after you purchase a vehicle, they're there for you. From a service standpoint, they have the best service of any dealership that I've come across. They work quickly and diligently. They're always kind and courteous, and you'd think, well, that should be every company. Yeah, it should be. But you know as a consumer, it's not always like that. You walk into a restaurant, you walk into a store, it's like, yeah, what do you want? Okay. But at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they do a great job of making you feel that you're taken care of not only before the sale, but after the sale. So when it comes to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, yeah, they've got great deals. They got great deals throughout the rest of the month of January. I'm sure they'll have great deals in February, too. They're running them all the time. But when it comes to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, it is about making sure that you feel taken care of when it comes to being a customer. So 30-day return promise. Within 30 days, if you need to bring the vehicle back, you can get a full refund. You can get the free complimentary lifetime warranty, too, that comes with all new Nissans. The service department, again, great deals with the service department, and you feel like you're taken care of from your salesperson, too. I've experienced that at Auto Centers Nissan, and you will, too. Over 700 vehicles on their lot, one location. Check them out at AutoCentersNissan.com or head down to Herculaneum. Tell them Stalter sent you. It's Auto Centers Nissan. If you missed anything from throughout the show today, you can always download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app. Podcast is brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Had some fun today. Talked a little football. Carey absolved Dan Campbell of any wrongdoing.
I definitely did.
Not that he's the head coach or anything. Carey's like, he's done nothing wrong.
Not really.
But we broke down the AFC Championship game, the NFC Championship game. Carey and I also talked about how wrong we were going against the Chiefs. Something I'll never do again. That's why I become a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And I feel like a lot of people are excited today about that, about me hopping on that bandwagon. At least in my mind, they are. Also talked about the Blues' 5-game winning streak and how they're ripping up the NHL on their way to 25 more straight. So that would be 30 overall.
Sure would be nice.
And, claim one of the top 3 spots in the Western Conference. It's all available on the podcast. Let's bet the board now. Jamie.
Yeah.
You have been rolling. Ish. I mean, for us, out of us, you've been rolling. What's your pick tonight?
So there's only one game in the NHL tonight. That is the nasty Nashville Predators visiting the Ottawa Senators.
Yes.
I'm going with the home team. Ottawa Senators minus 102 in this game here. At home. Playing a little more inspired here recently. And bottom line is I just can't find it in me to bet on the Predators.
Fair.
I respect it.
All right, Marsh, you're in second place. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with that same game. I'm going to go with the over first period total goals of 1.5.
That's a great
Okay, all right.
Sounds pretty
Carey.
darn good. I'm going to stick with the basketball because the Clippers haven't let me down yet. I'm going to go them minus 126 on the money line over the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Really?
Yeah.
So I thought long and hard about this. There's only one NHL game tonight on the slate. And my guy, Juice Saros, has been playing outstanding hockey. I got to go with Juice Saros here. And the Juice Saros.
UC Saros?
I don't care.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Anthony clearly doesn't see him.
Hey, you know what? I don't care what his mom and dad named him. I care about his production.
He's a human being.
Not to me, not tonight. I need this guy to win. I need this guy to play good.
Yeah, you need these guys to beat the Senators so they can be ahead of the Blues again.
No, I'm not thinking that way. There's one game tonight, Jamie. I'm going with the one game. I'm a hockey guy.
Games. There's other prop bets.
I got no football to
There's prop
play
bets
here, and I got to go with the hockey.
I don't feel like it's necessary that you bet against your Blues.
So UC Saros is going to have himself a big game tonight against the Senators. He is. I know it. I just don't know what. Well, he's back.
Tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night.
He's back.
He hasn't been injured. He's been playing great.
I just like to see you scramble.
Give me the Predators.
You jerk.
Ottawa's been fine of late. Not the strongest home team. So going with Nashville.
You don't want to take the total saves over or under?
No, he's all about the juice. Now he's got no faith.
28.5?
Listen, Carey, that would be too easy, but I'm a team guy. So I'm taking Nashville.
All right.
It's weird you're going against Jamie's pick.
I'm not going against Jamie. There's only one game.
I see what's going on here.
What are the standings? Do we have a record?
Yeah, we do have the standings.
What are we chasing?
Jamie, 9-6. By the way, there's only 3 days left in the month.
I need both of you all to lose somehow.
Anthony's 6-9. That's weird. That's a 3-game swing right there. Huh.
Well, what do you mean?
It sounds like you need Jamie to lose.
I mean, listen, I'm not rooting against him, but I am competitive. You know? So,
I mean, if he loses, that means you win. It's just ironic.
That's all right. Cream rises to the top.
It certainly does.
I'm rooting for a tie.
That's why Saros is going to ride to the top.
I want no one to win.
Yeah, that's your best case scenario.
Here are the current standings. Jamie's in first. He's 9-6. I'm in second, 8-7, and then Anthony and Carey, you are tied for last, 6-9.
I don't know. You have to put it that way. We're 6-9.
You're tied for last.
Yeah, you're tied. We're 6-9. I mean,
but you're still in last place.
Okay. It's fine.
You're tied in that place.
I don't think you needed to add that.
There's a lot of additional words. Look, Marsh, you'll learn this. Just cut down on the words. They're more effective.
Okay, we'll go by who's playing well lately or who's picking well lately. Carey, unfortunately, you're on a 3-pick losing streak. Anthony's only on a 2, so
that's it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I need to know who I picked so I don't do that again.
Well,
I picked the line
under. You picked the under.
Yeah.
When Luka went off.
Went for 73. I picked the damn under on the entire game, and Luka damn near had the over by himself.
73 in his own.
Oh, my God. I saw that, and I said, you got to be freaking kidding me.
Good Lord.
When I saw the update on my phone, like the ESPN update, go, oh, Luka, 73, breaking news. I go, wait a minute. I don't think that was a 300 points in that game.
Yeah, I had like 300 points in that game.
Oh, man. That's too funny.
You guys ready for some criticisms and compliments?
Yeah.
All right. From the 314, if you can't pronounce a player's name right, you have no business working for an all-sports station. Oh. Well, you know what? This guy's name is hard to pronounce.
Which guy?
Well, UC Soros, but...
Oh. I'm like, we say names wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I called Alfonso Ribeiro earlier.
Yeah, I mean... Alfonso.
My bad.
We're not trying to pronounce the name.
Oh, there's some complicated names up there.
Yeah, like UC Soros.
Uh-huh. It's just beginning.
Here's the thing, that was my nickname for him, Juice.
Juice.
He's the Juice.
The Juice. Juice Williams
I actually thought
Soros.
you were playing around at first. And then as you kept going, I realized...
When Jamie looked right at me, I was like, I think he's saying his name wrong.
But I thought, okay.
Oh, it's the Juice.
I thought you were doing like what I do, just give a guy a nickname, you know?
I did.
No, you did not on purpose, though.
I stumbled
Sometimes
into
you
it,
fall
Jamie.
into it.
Yeah.
The Juice.
Even better.
And there's a lot more reasons why I shouldn't be on sports radio than mispronouncing names.
Hey, there's a lot of great players out there with the name Juice.
Yeah.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
Be careful, though.
Certainly.
No.
I was going to say something. I'm
Yeah, just keep going.
From the 314, can Anthony please pick a team and stick with them? He's so annoying.
For what?
I don't disagree.
I got the Chiefs.
You're not a Falcons. So are you no longer a Falcons fan?
I'm a Chiefs fan right now. Jamie's got 3 teams. How am I annoying?
I've been committed to them
Who are
long
your
term.
3 teams? I know Detroit is one.
I was committed to them before the season.
He's a Patriots fan. He's a Bucks fan. He's a Lions fan.
Yeah.
I'm the annoying one.
Buccaneers fan?
Well, ish.
Oh, my God.
Ish.
I only got one NFL team.
Oh, well, we know, Carey. We know. The Ravens.
Chiefs.
Nah. I'm rooting for them now, though.
Yeah, you are.
Maybe I got 2.
Anthony, you mentioned earlier that you were having a text conversation with your old pals from Detroit, and someone from the Snake Pit said that this is probably what this conversation looked like, that, you know, they're complaining about the team blowing the game, and Anthony, you said to your buddies, that's why I've been a Chiefs fan for life.
Right. That's exactly right. You should hop on this bandwagon is what I was texting them.
CFL. Chiefs for life.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're a kingdom.
Or a week.
They are.
What's
You know
in
what,
that?
Anthony?
A week.
2 weeks.
You know what?
For 2 weeks.
A tattoo for me would show your commitment.
Okay.
Big Chiefs tattoo.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Somewhere.
On the pack.
Right on the right on the heart.
Right on the heart.
Right on the heart.
I gotta see it.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't believe it.
That's a good point, Carey. Otherwise, you can't say it anymore.
Are you guys ready for the 3 stars of the day?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Our 3rd star of the day goes to Rafe for filling in while you guys were in the break room.
Nice job, Rafe.
Congratulations to Rafe.
All 3 of us
We were
were
having a
gone.
very serious conversation.
Life.
Yeah. Solving problems.
Didn't realize we were supposed to be
I didn't
working.
realize the break was like 12 seconds
It was
long.
like 35 seconds.
Like I walked down the hall, they're screaming. What the hell is going on here?
There was pure panic.
Yeah.
2nd star of the day goes to the Minnesota Vikings for making history as the only NFL team to lose to another NFC team in the Super Bowl, according to Anthony Stalter.
Somebody that's
All juice.
somebody that's tweeted at me goes, still not 6 Super Bowls for the Vikings. Hashtag if you say it, it doesn't make it true. Whatever.
And our first star of the day goes to a group of people, and especially one person today. Number one star here in the Fast Lane goes to all the bandwagon Chief fans that live in the St. Louis area.
That's tough. You see him win yesterday, you're thinking, I'm never going to go against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes again, and then you just jump on the bandwagon and you start bragging about it like you start acting like you've been a Chiefs fan forever, and that is annoying.
That kingdom needs a king.
Yeah. You're darn right it does.
Yeah, they do.
Well said, Marsh.
Got one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right here in the Fast Lane.
Got your king right here. It's not the king you wanted or deserved.
The one you're going to get.
But the one you're going to get.
King me.
For Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. See ya.